Well, happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I am here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box. And in that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes at the answer, sometimes I do not. But either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. So again, guys, this Thursday we are doing things. We have a commitment tomorrow that I can't really get out of. So live stream is on Thursday for a change. Next week we'll be back to our regularly scheduled time. But it's a great time, great time of year. 4th of July weekend is only a couple of weeks out, so I've got some cool videos to show you guys, some things I've been doing on the lawn to get it ready, and some things that other folks that have sent me pictures have been doing. We got some other updates from sodding projects. There's a lot to get through tonight. And of course, as always, your questions. We're coming to you guys live on YouTube as our primary platform, but you can also reach out to us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or on Meta. So we got Instagram working again tonight. So any of you guys that are here that have any questions, feel free to be part of the show, ask your questions, and I will work them into the rotation. All right. So let's see who we have in the live stream this evening. We got Ahmed Jones up first saying, good evening. What's going on, Ahmed? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. Thanks for coming by to say hello. And then we got Brad Greer saying good evening. Rich 70 also saying good evening. What's going on? Hello, Rich. Hope all is going well. And then we got my favorite SEC fan, former, dedicated LSU fan, but now he's come over to just, backing the SEC in general. I really like that. Mr. Kenny Cadow's in the house. He says, good evening. Looks like we have an SEC winner for the CWS. Now, Kenny, I have to admit that I don't know what CWS is. I'll have to look it up. I'm sure it's something related to sports, but I actually don't know what that stands for. But they're from the SEC, so it can't be that bad, right? All right, next up we have Parallax in the house. He says, "Hey Ron and everyone, good evening. Let's like and subscribe if you haven't done so. You will not be disappointed." I appreciate that, Parallax. Thank you for the kind words of support. So guys, it's been a busy week. You know, like I said, 4th of July weekend is just around the corner, so the lawn was getting a little bit thick. This time of year, you know, temperatures are higher. Bermuda tends to grow faster. So to get the lawn ready for the 4th of July weekend, have it looking its absolute best, I did my verticutting already. Some of you guys have seen some of the pictures that I posted. A lot of material came out of the lawn. Again, what's interesting is if you look at the pictures that I posted in the past from verticutting, so from May and then from April, May, you'll notice that the amount of debris that came out this time was quite a bit more than what's come out in previous verticuts. So it's the same setup. It wasn't set up any more aggressively, and you just saw that a lot more debris came out of the lawn. So I'll show you guys really quickly what I'm working with here. So as far as verticutting versus not being verticut, so on the left you can see the lawn in the process of being verticut. The right side has not yet been verticut. And some of you guys probably are wondering that are new to the live stream are asking the question, you know, what is verticutting? Why does it matter? Why would you do it on a lawn that already looks pretty good? So the thing with Bermuda, I mean, really this is, it applies to most shortcut turf, but especially Bermuda as the temperature tends to get hotter, is as the lawn thickens up, it starts to get so dense that you start getting cutting issues. In other words, instead of the mower riding on the soil and, you know, it cutting more true, it tends to ride on top of the canopy because it's so thick, and you start getting scalping in areas that you normally wouldn't. If you guys noticed, if you look at pictures of my lawn from like last week, you guys know I mow double wide stripes, and they're like where the stripes overlap. If you look really carefully, you can start to see a little bit where there's a little bit of scalping starting to happen there. So that's why I said, okay, you know, it's a little bit early, but I'm going to go ahead and get my verticut done for June. It'll give it plenty of time to recover for the 4th of July. And I was just trying to get rid of that. So that's a big part of why verticutting is so important. It helps to thin out the turf in a way that that isn't too aggressive, allows it to bounce back. It encourages new growth. A lot of the stolons, the runners that tend to go, that tend to happen when Bermuda is really, you know, really taken off. It cuts those. So again, it thins the turf out nicely and creates and encourages new growth. And the nice thing is, even though you look at the lawn and say, oh, it looks worse than it did before. Like if you look at this before and after picture, like this is where we are. Let's see here. This is on the left is being verticut, and then the right has not yet been verticut. And if you can see what the process looks like, even though it looks worse, once you're done doing it, within a week or so, it's going to recover fully and it's going to look really incredible. So this is a little video that I shot showing me doing it in action. Again, it's vertically cutting slits into the lawn, is gently removing that material and just encouraging new growth. And in a second here, when I get to the end of this pass, you can see what I'm working with. So the right side has been verticut, the left side has not been. And then I walk over here a little bit and I show you guys a bit of a close-up as far as, or a better comparison, like a compare and contrast between what's been verticut and what hasn't. So it's really cool. It's a great thing to do if you have the time and energy to do it. The cool thing, and reason why the outlet is so nice, is that you see all that debris is going into the grass catcher. And, you know, that, to believe it or not, makes a lot of the work a lot easier, because you're able to, it saves time of versus verticutting the lawn, having all that fall back into the lawn, and then you have to get out there with a rake or some other way to be able to get all that debris up, which makes it a lot more troublesome. So as far as what came out after a verticut and then a turf rake, which some of you guys will know as referred to as scarifying, which is what I do afterwards to help pull a lot of that, like any of the debris that didn't go into the basket, get a lot of that cleaned up. And then finally a mow. The final result is this. So as far as the material that came out of the lawn, that's what I was looking with. So you can see that's the verticut, turf rake, and then mow. And we'll show another picture here, what we're looking like. You can see that, quite a bit of material. And then finally, this is this is the post verticutting. So I wanted to walk the lawn and show you guys what it would look like afterwards. The thing that always stands out is, even though the turf has been through a bit of a number, right? It's been beat up quite a bit. the color becomes so much more vibrant because you're getting all this trash, all this dead grossness out of the lawn. And again, literally within a week, it looks good now. It's been through some struggles here, but in a week from now, it's going to look really nice. I only verticut the lawn in one direction, so the way we're looking at it right now is not the direction where I was doing the verticutting. I was doing it away to and from the house because that's where I want the stripes to really, really stand out. And again, for a lawn that was just verticut, turf raked, and then mowed, you can see how the stripes are very pronounced. The color still looks pretty good given everything that it's been through. And again, in a week or so from now, it's going to look amazing. So great things that's what I've been working on this week as far as getting the lawn ready for the 4th of July weekend. It was interesting. We got some pictures from other viewers that were doing a similar process because verticutting, if you have the ability to do it, great, right? The next best thing is if you can turf rake or scarify the lawn. Again, making sure you're not too aggressive. There's also a lot of benefits in that. So we have some pictures here from Randall. Randall Lard sent some pictures into us showing how his lawn looked after a verticut, and then we had another one from Bryant showing a turf rake. So if you want to see the results after, this is 8 days after being verticut. So you can see how that's recovered very nicely. The color looks good. I mean, it's not 100% yet, but that's still looking really nice. Color looks nice and deep. And finally there. So this is 8 days post Randall verticutting the lawn. And then let's say you did not go verticutting, right? Because the process that I do on my lawn is I verticut, turf rake, and then mow. So say you don't have access to a verticutter or you just don't want a verticut and you just turf rake, what kind of results can you get? So we had another Academy member, Brian, sent his pictures in, and again, looks incredible. This is strictly this is only a turf rake. This is only a scarify, no verticutting at all in this one. And you can see the results. I think this is a week to 10 days later after he was done with it. Again, color looks great. Stripes are on point. And that's what you really find, right? Is that you don't realize how much the debris that falls into the lawn, even if you're bagging your clippings, which is what I do, right? I catch all my clippings. That little bit of debris that still falls in the lawn just kind of sits there, how it really takes away from the color of it. And you can really see in both cases, both in Bryant and in Randall's, the thing that stands out is the color. You see how nice and vibrant and how rich that green is. And again, this is Bermuda grass, and same thing with Randall. The color just looks incredible. It's really, really rich and deep because all you're seeing is just the leaf of the grass. You removed a lot of that garbage that was in the lawn that takes away from the color of it. So thanks guys for sending those pictures in. I really do appreciate it. It gives some folks some, just shows what's possible. The big thing I would say, if you decide that you're going to do a verticut or turf rake, is to not go too aggressive. One of the questions that I commonly get is how aggressively, how deep do I set up the turf rake and the verticutter? And in both cases, I don't set my equipment up to where it goes into the soil. It's set up to 2 to 4 millimeters above the surface. That's where I set up both the turf rake and the verticutter, which is not really aggressive. There's people that go a lot more aggressive than that. And given that I do it monthly, that is enough to where I get the benefits of it, and without, causing so much injury to the turf that it takes longer for it to recover. Because again, a week from now, you guys are going to see next weekend is July 29th, which is a UFC fight. So next weekend, when I have the next live stream, I'll update you guys. You'll be able to see how the lawn is recovered just from this week to next week. So awesome stuff. Just something to consider if you guys want to do something cool to really give your lawn that X factor. And given that we have, over a week from the 4th of July, there's still plenty of time for it to recover, especially this time of year, given how hot temperatures are and how quickly and aggressively Bermuda grows in these conditions. All right, next up, we have Mr. Robert Rainey in the live stream. He says, hey, everyone. What's going on, Robert? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. Robert, again, being that guy, he was the first one, I think it was like 6 days ago when he was out verticutting his lawn. So he did it, and I was like, oh, well, I do need to get mine done. So I made time to get mine done, and then Randall also had his done. But, Robert being, he not to be outdone, he has to be the one to be first, So Robert, whenever you get a chance, man, you got to send us pictures. I saw pictures of you of the lawn being verticut. You got to send us some pictures once it's recovered, and so we can show everybody how it bounced back from that. All right. Next up is, let me see. Dr. YouTube says, I went to bed, it was Wednesday, woke up, and now it's Friday. Yeah, it's Friday, but 24 hours early, right? So, it was either the options were have a live stream on Thursday night or not have it at all, and you guys pretty much always opt for having it a day early. So hence we're having it a day early, right? Just I don't even put it to a vote anymore because you guys pretty much always say let's have it just a day early. Next week though, we'll go back to our normally scheduled time. So don't get too used to this. All right, next up is Shauna 553 from Instagram chiming in. She says, just got done mowing. I like it. I just got a Rolex and I'm finally putting out some stripes, having fun in the lawn. Nice, Shauna. Very cool. Congrats on the new equipment. Hang on, we got to clap it up for that. Very nice. And whenever you're happy with it, I know you just got the new reel mower. You're going through that transition period from you're going from a rotary to a reel, or from a push reel to a power reel. I'm not sure which way it was correct for you if you had a rotary before. But once you are happy with it, once you're at the point where you say, you know what, this looks much better, I'm much happier, the lawn has gotten used to being cut at the height of cut that it is with the new equipment, send us a picture. Go show everybody. We'll show everyone what you're working with. You put a lot of work in your lawn. You may as well show it off for everyone to be able to see and appreciate all your hard work. All right, next up is Ahmed Jones. He has a question. He says, what can I put on my Bermuda lawn now? That's a good question, Ahmad. It's kind of an open-ended question. So what you can put on your Bermuda lawn now is the same thing you put on Bermuda a month ago, which is you would feed it properly. So you would give it, you fertilize it. I'm a fan of using growth regulator. It's something I spray on my lawn every 2 weeks. Really makes a big difference as far as, one, slowing down how quickly the grass grows, and as far as producing a richer and deeper color, just causes the turf to thicken up. It's a great tool. So outside of fertilization and growth regulator, if you've not done a moisture managers yet, that is worth doing. So, we've got, I'll show you really quick there. Why not? We can go for a ride really quick. So if you go to shop and then moisture management on the Golf Course Lawn Store, so you have a couple of options here. You have Foreplay, which is basically HydroChain with 3 extra ingredients. There's a surfactant, kelp, and there's one other, and I always forget what it is. So we will look it up. So there's 4 things that are in it. Yep. So there's HydroChain, a kelp, surfactant, and then potassium, like a humate that they add to it. So this is like you can think of this like as HydroChain on steroids. But if you don't want that, you've got HydroChain by itself available as a granular and also available as a liquid. So either way will work. It just depends on what works for you. But as far as feeding, as far as fertilizer, I can tell you what I'm doing on my lawn. So the beginning of this month, it got Humic Max 1608. And then what I am spraying is the 901C carbon kit and the new micronutrient that you can now get, right? So the micronutrient and the 901C carbon kit along with the micronutrient and my growth regulators. So if there's tons of content on it. I've got a blog post on plant growth regulator if you're interested in that. Also for the new fertilizers, the new liquid fertilizers, both the 22-3 and the micronutrient. I've got a YouTube short that I did last weekend that shows a couple of different ways of using them together. So if you guys have not seen that, I'll link that to you as well, Ahmad. So I'll make sure you're all taken care of. Give me 1 second here, and I'll drop that in the chat, and then you will have that video, because that shows some combinations of different ways of using it that produces a good result. All right. So yeah, hopefully that helps, sir. Big thing is, continue feeding your lawn, continue mowing it. Growth regulator is always good, and then a moisture manager if you've not done that as yet. So there's the video on how to use new fertilizers together along with the carbon kit. And then in addition, here is the here's where you can find the fertilizers, and here's where you can find the moisture managers. So I will get you all squared away here, so you'll have everything you need. Hope that helps. Great question. And with everything you're doing, make sure you mow. If there's anything I can tell you guys to do as well too, right? If you want to really have your lawn looking, primo, have it looking really, really good for the 4th, a week or so out, like starting like next week, pick up your mowing frequency. Even if you can add like 1 additional mow, you'll notice a difference in how the turf looks. So something that you can do that costs absolutely nothing, and it will make a visual improvement in how your lawn looks. So just consider that as well if you're looking for like a budget approach to getting your lawn looking its absolute best. All right, next up we have Lucinda Nava in the live stream. Actually, no, it's not right. I skipped someone. Let me get back to where I was. Next up we have is Jackie Bear. He says, happy stream, everybody. What's going on, Jackie? Thank you so much for coming and hang out in the live stream. And then Kenny Cadell, our favorite SEC champion, says, after all the rain we've had recently, battling a nutsedge infestation. Yeah, that tends to be a problem, Kenny. So nutsedge tends to really grow mostly where water settles. So what you find is if after a heavy rain, if water stays in an area of the lawn, if it settles on a part of the lawn, that is where nutsedge is more prone to grow. Like in my lawn, it's typically where the water drains between my back lawn to the front. So between Alex's lawn and my lawn, that is where nutsedge will tend to rear its ugly head. Given that you have Bermuda, I think you have Monaco, right? Given that you have Bermuda, you can just simply use Certainty. It's a great herbicide, great post-emergent herbicide. It'll make quick work of nutsedge. You can spray it at relatively low rates, and it's going to do a good job cleaning that up. So Certainty paired with surfactant, these two will make quick work of nutsedge in your lawn. So sorry you're dealing with that, but it is a thing that is fairly common this time of year, and especially again if you being I think in Louisiana, you guys get quite a bit of rain, and that's just par for the course. Just par for the course. It's all going to be part of it, unfortunately. So, all right. Next up, we have Collins in the house. He says, "What's up, Ron? Hopefully your Thursday has been well. Almost thought today was Friday. Still tuning in for some good turf talk. Thank you so much, Colin. I really do appreciate it. It is not Friday, but yeah, we're still getting the live stream done because we got to do that." And Colin also sent some pictures in. So if you guys remember, Colin has the Paspalum lawn, and he went through a sodding project where he resodded the front lawn and some areas in the back. And he sent me some pictures leading up to the show to show you guys where we are now. So you can see how the color's coming in. That looks really nice. And then next we have the side lawn. And you know, one thing I'll tell you, Colin, before we go to the last picture, what's interesting is I know there was like that one piece of sod up on the right side. So if you look at this picture, the right side, like up on the little crest there, that you didn't resod, and it looks really nice. Like as far as the current, the old Paspalum matching this new, it's blending really nicely. That was the thing that stood out to me when I was looking at the pictures. So nice work on that. And then you had one more picture to show us, which was the back lawn. We can see that is thickening up nicely, growing in nicely. So so very, very nice work. Looks good. And you know what I gotta give you, man. Even though you have a smaller lawn, you keep that edge clean. You gotta respect a clean edge job on lawn, and you can tell this man put his stick edger or whatever he's using. It's a nice clean edge and looks good. So keep up the great work. I really do appreciate that. It's something that I can do better at. I love mowing. I don't like any of the other aspects as far as like edging. Not my favorite thing to do, which is why growth regulator is such a cool tool, because you have to edge the lawn less frequently. So I think with me, with my current program, like every third mow is when I will put the edger back on it to refresh it. All right. Next up is Same. He says, "Hey, Ron, question about Heritage G versus Headway G when you have a moment." Okay. So Heritage G is, I want to say Heritage G is just azoxystrobin. I believe that's correct. Let me make sure I'm not telling you a lie here. I think that is right. So Heritage G is a single fungicide with the active ingredient. Yeah, that's what I thought. The active ingredient in Headway G, in Heritage G is azoxystrobin. So there's only one fungicide in the bag, whereas Headway G is a combination product where you have azoxystrobin and propiconazole. So of the two, you notice on the golf course lawn store, we really only carry Headway because it's just a better, in my opinion, just a better product. Like if you're trying to control dollar spot and a few other diseases where propiconazole is a better choice, that's where Headway really works better. And it just fits in better with the other fungicide that we have that we also carry. So Heritage and Headway. Headway is the better option in my opinion, because again, it's got everything that Heritage has plus another fungicide. So again, Heritage is just azoxystrobin, and Headway is azoxystrobin and propiconazole. So 2 modes of action. You're just going to get better control as far as diseases go. So on my lawn, there's only 2 fungicides that I really use. It's either Headway G, or if I decide to rotate to liquid, I will use Pillar SC. So this or the granular group 3 and group 11 fungicide is what I run with. So hope that helps. Good question. Next up is Sam again. He said, thanks for streaming tonight. You are very welcome. No worries at all. No worries at all. Happy to help out. And guys and gals, I know it's a bit early, but if you guys are enjoying the live stream and feel like supporting the show, feel free to hit that like button. It really does do a lot to help support the channel, help support the content. So feel free to hit that like, and sends good vibes to YouTube and gets more people to come over and hang out with us talking about amazing lawns, right? So thanks so much if you guys can do that. Katie says, the College World Series. Okay, there you go. Cool, thanks, I appreciate it. Next up is Matthew Whitson. He says, hey, Ron, hope all is well. I can't complain, Matthew. Cannot complain. It's living the dream. It's a great Thursday. I was going to say great Friday. It's a great Thursday night. And then next up is Corey. He says, good afternoon, Ron. I just got through aerating my yard. Plugs were only 2 to 3 inches deep due to the compacted Georgia clay. With Yard Mastery suggesting starter fertilizer, soil test, should I be worried? No, not really. I mean, 2 to 3 inches. Here's the thing, Corey. About the best you're going to do with like the rented aerators, like the ones you'll get at any of the big box stores, is about 3 inches. If you're really fortunate, you may get 4, but 3 inches is not bad. I really wouldn't feel too bad about that. If you got into like some more heavy duty equipment, like some of the ride-on aerators that like the services that will come out and do it for you, like they can pull deeper cores. If you have like a pro core on your property, like the first time my lawn was aerated, the service had a Toro Pro Core, and that also will get a lot deeper than 2 to 3 inches. But again, yeah, to answer your question, nothing to be concerned about. Go out and put your fertilizer out, and you'll be good to go. It's no concern at all. Again, 2 to 3 inches is about what you're going to get with most rented core aerators. All right, next up is Rich V. He says, Ron, I purchased the new fertilizer from the golf course lawn store, the Turflex replacement. Since this is a foliar uptake, does the lawn need to be dry? Just concerned about morning dew on the grass affecting the uptake. Not really, Rich. So most of the time when I spray my liquids, it tends to be in the morning when there's still a bit of moisture on the lawn from the dew. And there's no issue with that at all. What you don't want is for you to spray and then for there to be rainfall right afterwards. So as long as you've got 4 hours of dry weather from the time you spray, whenever there's any rain in the forecast, you're going to be good to go. So a little bit of moisture on the lawn from dew in the morning, not going to hurt anything, just as long as there's not rain in the immediate forecast. That's the thing that I'd want to be more concerned about. So great question. And for some of you guys that are wondering what Rich is talking about, if you go to the golf course lawn store, and you can go to shop and then lawn fertilizer, or just go to the homepage, they're there as well. You have the new fertilizers, the 22-3, which is replacing Turfplex, and then we have the new micronutrient, which replaces Nutrizolve. One question some folks have asked is, like, what are the differences between these and the fertilizers they replace? Well, for one, both of these, we were able to work with the Andersons to get fulvic acid added, which neither of the previous products had. We're also able to increase the amount of kelp in them over what the previous products had. And then for the 22-3, for this guy, which replaces Turfplex, we also were able to increase the iron. So Turfplex has, I think, 0.5% of iron, and this has 0.75. So a 50% increase in the amount of available iron in this fertilizer versus the outgoing. So a lot of good reasons really just to move to the new one. There's really no negative. I wouldn't have released them if they were not going to be better in every way. So really, really proud of them. Really happy that they're out in the wild, and I can't wait to see you guys send me pictures and share the results you're getting with them. So once you guys do get the products, I know plenty of it's been ordered already. Once you guys have started using it, feel free to go to the golf course lawn store, leave a review, provide feedback as far as your thoughts, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Just feel free to let me know. And yeah, it's just good. Feedback's always good as far as for future products or for any adjustments. So really do appreciate you guys trusting me, and also just trying out the new fertilizers. The response has been really good. All right. So Rich, I'm gonna save that question because I'm sure other folks have it. And for any of you guys that are not subscribed to the channel, it's worth doing because as far as different ways to use them, I put together a series of shorts showing how you can use the micronutrient and the new liquid fertilizer together, the 22-3 together, how you can use them along with the carbon kits. So if you're interested in that, there's going to be there's already content out there that covers that as well. So worth subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on on those videos. I have a long form piece of content that's already been filmed, already shot. I just need to get out and edit it and post it as well, but just have to find time to get that done. So look out for that as well. All right, next up is Tito Serrano. He says, do you verticut a thin lawn, Tifway 419? Not really. I mean, if it's thin, if it's thin, it's not growing in. There's not really a whole lot of reason to thin it out anymore with verticutting. So no, I wouldn't, Tito. Verticutting really is a good tool for a lawn that is already thick, that's already growing in really well. What you tend to find is lawns that are highly maintained, so shorter cut turf, real mowed turf, or lawns that are more frequently mowed is when verticutting really tends to shine. Because again, one thing, if any of you guys that are on here that have real mowed have experienced, is when you start out real mowing your lawn in March, April timeframe, everything's good. You can start at whatever height you're at, and you can mow the lawn. There's assuming the lawn is smooth enough that it will tolerate being cut at the height of cut that you're trying to go for. It's all good. But once the lawn begins to thicken up, so once heat gets here and the days get longer and Bermuda really begins to light off and really start growing aggressively, what you tend to find is in areas you start getting scalping in areas that you didn't have it before, just due to how thick the turf gets, and the mower begins to float more on the canopy versus actually like settling down and cutting more true. Verticutting helps alleviate that. You can also do like a mid-season scalp. There's people that also do that as well, but that's a lot uglier. Like if you go out and you scalp the lawn this time of year, that's another way to thin the lawn out, but it's gonna look pretty bad, until it recovers. Whereas verticutting, for the most part, it's a less aggressive way, and also visually it's less disruptive from a standpoint of just, you did it, the lawn will lose a little bit of color, but within a week or so it's going to come back and look great. So to answer your question, Tito, I would not verticut an already thin lawn. It's really something you want to reserve for lawns that are already growing well and that are thick, and it's something that primarily shorter cut turf and real mowed lawns will benefit the most from. So hope that helps. Next up, we got Mary J. She says, happy summer solstice, golf course lawn fam. Thank you so much, Mary. So I guess so summer officially starts today, right? If we're going, yeah. So I guess some people say it starts in June, but per the solstice, today's actually the first day of summer. I think you are correct about that. So thanks for that, Mary. And then next we have Parallax. They're back. He says, hey Ron, have you heard of Blackjack 2 Maya Bermuda grass seed? I have. I'm planning to renovate my lawn next spring. It's also covering the new seed with peat moss, important, and also adding a starter fertilizer. So a lot in that. I have heard of Blackjack 2. I've heard of Maya. As far as them being a combined, I didn't know that there's actually a combination of them now, but I have heard of Blackjack by itself and Maya by itself, but maybe it's a new thing. As far as covering the new grass seed with peat moss, it's not something that I've ever done, but people that do it absolutely swear by it. So what I would tell you is this, Parallax, is if you have the ability to get some peat moss and put it out, go ahead and do so. It's not going to hurt anything. I've never done that in the couple of times that I've overseed my lawn many moons ago. But if you want to do that, that would be absolutely fine. So one of the neighbors here, for example, that has heavy shade, they are trying ryegrass, and they're on their vanity strip to see how it's going to work out. I don't know how well it's going to tolerate the heat we have here in Georgia, but that part of their lawn is heavily shaded, so we'll see. And in their case, they didn't use peat moss, but they did put down some straw to help the grass seed stay in place, and the ryegrass grew through really nicely. So it's something to consider. So if you want to do peat moss, go for it. A starter fertilizer, also a great idea. And outside of that, just water it and just be patient. Give it time, and it should grow in. I don't know what you're looking at as far as germination times on those Bermuda grass seed types. I knew with Arden 15, 9 to 11 days was certainly possible. Like RN15 was a really fast germinating Bermuda grass seed, but that's atypical. Most of them don't do that. Most of them, it's more like that 14 to 21 day time frame. So if you go out and you put it out when you do your renovation next spring, and by a week, even 10 days into it, you're not seeing anything as yet, just be patient, because Bermuda does take a bit longer to germinate and begin growing in than other grass types. Certainly much slower than ryegrass. All right, next up is DJ Shaw says, is verticutting only for warm season grass? Nope, not at all. It's not just for warm season grass. You can verticut cool season grass. You can verticut KBG. I mean, it's not a warm season only thing. The grass, again, the grass types that I find benefit the most from it, or the people that benefit the most from it, are people that are mowing shorter. So if you're mowing lower, so more highly maintained turf, tend to benefit more from verticutting than if you're mowing taller. So, for example, if you have a Bermuda lawn and you're mowing it at 2 inches, is there a benefit to verticutting? I mean, still, yes. I mean, you're still going to clean a lot of debris out. The color is going to look nicer. But as far as preventing or getting rid of the scalping problems that you tend to have when you're real mowing Bermuda, as temperatures get hotter, like around this time of year, you're unlikely to see that, because you're mowing it so tall that it really shouldn't be a problem. So the shorter the turf is maintained, the more the more benefit I think you tend to get from verticutting, because it's a lot of work. I mean, if you look at the amount of debris that came out of the lawn is quite a bit. I mean, you can look at that. That grass came up to my hip. I mean, it's a lot of material. I mean, if you look at the video, actually, we can show that really quick. If you look at the video afterwards, if I can pause it here, you can see it's actually, the top of that pile is taller than the table that you guys see me often film videos from. And the thing about that table is that it is, it's just at my hip, because it's on bricks. I stand it up a little bit, so it shows you how much material came out of the vanity strip, the swill area, and the back lawn. I didn't verticut the front lawn. I just did the vanity strips, the swill, and the back lawn. So that's all that material you're seeing there is what came from that. Oh, and there's also a bin, like the trash cans that you guys see me on the back porch. One of those is full of debris as well too. So it's a lot of material can come out from doing this. It's a lot of work. So I'd say, like I said, can you do it to grasses being mowed taller? Sure, but there's less benefit, in my opinion. You'd be better off doing like a light turf raking. You're gonna get less material, and you're still gonna get a lot of the benefits. All right, next up is Mr. Sean Murphy's in the house. He says, happy Thursday, Ron. Just got finished verticutting. All right, PGR 901C down last Saturday, Humic Max next weekend, ready for the 4th. Nice, man. You are getting it done. You're not messing around. And next up, we have Trilla from Manila. He says, hey, Ron, and happy Thursday, everyone. Had a chance to spray the new 22-3 and my half rate of Primo. Can't wait to see the results. I'm so excited. Awesome. Glad to hear that, Trilla. What you should find is 3 days or so after spraying, you should see a nice boost in color. And then, with Primo, assuming you've been spraying it since May, like late April, May, the launch is going to stay under regulation. So there really shouldn't be a big change from you spraying the Primo. From the liquid fertilizer, you should see a nice kick in color from that. Good stuff, man. Appreciate you letting me know. And again, give me some feedback as far as how it works out for you. All right, next up is Parallax. He says, everyone, please like the live stream more so more people can come and get help. It doesn't cost anything. It's a great point. We have 97 people here in the live stream right now and only 57 likes. Surely we can do better. So if you guys want to support the show, it's a free way to do so. Feel free to hit that like button. I would really, really appreciate it. It costs you absolutely nothing, right? Next up, we have Lucinda Nava. So this is a comment we had from earlier. It says, hey, Ron, at what rate do you mix Celsius and certainty per gallon of water, and how many square feet does it cover? Bermuda grass. So Lucinda, it depends on what you're trying to control. So if you go to the golf course lawn store and you go to shop and then go to weed killer and you go to Celsius certainty, which is what you're asking about, there should be a video, we'll see. There's a video right here that shows the rates that I use, how I mix it. It's one way to do it. This is the rate that I use whenever I'm spot spraying. So if you want to go watch this video, that will give you some good guidance. As far as what it covers anywhere between 72,000 square feet up to 130,000 square feet. Again, depending on the rate that you use. But yeah, it's all in the product description. It's all in the description for Celsius and Certainty, along with a video that's there as well too. So I'll link those to you. What I will tell you is if you're spraying it at the high rate, so for Celsius, there's a measuring cup that's included. And on the right side, I think it's a third, yes, a third marking up. There's a marking for 0.45. That would be the amount of Celsius that you would use in 4 gallons of water, and that would cover 4,000 square feet. So if you're spraying it at the high rate, 0.45 of Celsius in 4 gallons of water over 4,000 square feet is the high rate. When it comes to Certainty, it really depends on what you're trying to control. This time of year, if you're going after sedges, which don't, you don't really have to spray Certainty at high rates to be able to do that. So like 0.75 ounces per acre, or 3 of the small scoops per 1,000 square feet works pretty well. But again, I'll link the video in the chat. You can watch that, and that's going to give you everything that you need. The most correct answer is it depends. It depends on what you're trying to control. That is the determining factor as far as what rate you should use. But that video will show you. I think I showed mixing 2 gallons of it, if memory serves me, and I showed you using Celsius at the high rate and then Certainty at that rate that I gave you, like 3 scoops or so and a couple gallons of water. So check this out. This video here will cover that. That's the Celsius Certainty video, and then the link to the product description where you can find the herbicide kit. I'll actually pin it. I'll even make it even easier for you. I'll make that the pin comment, where you can find the video linked in that as well as find the labels and everything else you'll need. Everything should be there. So give that a look. I show the process that I use, and if you follow that, you should get a pretty good result. All right, next up is Ty's Turf Care on Instagram. It says, I haven't tried growth regulator. Okay to apply on my perennial ryegrass now. Yeah, so growth regulator, great tool. I will tell you, here's the thing. I don't have a cool season lawn, but I'll tell you, talking to Devin, as far as using growth regulator on cool season turf grass, he tends to introduce it to the grass a bit earlier in the season. Can you use it now? Yes. What I would not do though is spray Primo at full rate the first time out. So I'm going to give you a link to a blog post here where I've taken a lot of the common rates for the various grass types and divided them in half. So I have a blog post on plant growth regulation, and if it's the first time you're going to be spraying this season, I would highly recommend that you spray at half rate. And then if you want to slowly increase that to stay within the correct limits for your grass type, that will be okay. But the spraying at half rates does a couple of things for you. First of all, you are reducing the likelihood that you're going to have any temporary yellowing or any tip burn because you're spraying at lower rates. And then second, if it's the first time you spray the product, if you're mixing it at a half rate, if you happen to go a little bit heavier, again, the chances of you causing any kind of discoloration or damage is reduced, versus if you decide you're going to go out there with at full rate the very first time you spray it, especially now this time of year, you are likely to get some temporary yellowing. So I just recommend against it. There's no reason to you've never done it before, so there's no reason to go out at full rate for your first time. And in this blog post, which I will link right here, actually I might already have it. Maybe I actually already have it up here. Yeah, it's one that I tend to keep around. So if you look here on the Golf Course Lawn Store, how plant growth regulation can make your lawn thicker and greener, talks all about what growth regulators are. There's some videos embedded, talks about Primo, and also talks about a new EZ, which is an excellent growth regulator. Both of them are excellent. I use both of them together. And this section talks about tip burn, what it is, how to prevent it. And then this video that was from this year shows how to use a new EZ and Primo together. The rates that I use for Bermuda grass, they'll be slightly different for you on cool season grass, but it shows you another option for using growth regulators as a tool. And then finally, you have your split application rates for Primo Max and split application rates for a new EZ. So this section shows the rates that I recommend that you use, and allows you to spray the growth regulator every couple of weeks at these rates. You get all the benefits and really none of the downsides. So I will link that here for you in the chat, and that will get you all squared away. You'll have everything you need to get out there and spray with confidence, Ty. So growth regulator blog, and yeah, hopefully it's useful for you. Again, PGR, growth regulators, is one of the best tools in your arsenal really for all grass types, but really, especially if you're real mowing, it's a game changer. Like this time of year when it gets really hot, if I weren't using using Primo, and now Primo and a new, it'd be tough to keep up with the lawn, because again, this time of year, Bermuda really begins growing aggressively. So growth regulator really just slows that down, regulates the growth, and it's a great tool for keeping your lawn looking really good. So I highly encourage it. It's not hard. I'm guessing based on your Instagram handle that you're into turf care. Maybe you have a service, or you're just in your lawn. So if you're spraying liquids on your lawn, the nice thing is that as long as the liquid fertilizers you're mixing along with them are designed for foliar uptake, you can mix Primo, you can mix a new along with those, spray it, and you're good to go. So I've got a couple different options that I use that are in that blog post, but yeah, just give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. It really does make a big difference in the appearance of your lawn. So I'd highly recommend giving it a shot. Offroad NV says, "Oh my God, you're live on Thursday." I am. I can be live today or not be live at all. So I figured you guys would rather have me today than not at all this week, right? All right, next up is Abraham Soto. He says, let's see here. He says, "Good evening, Ron. 1 year Bermuda pulled plugs from a healthy section of my lawn to fill in bare spots. I noticed the roots are 1 to 1.5 inches max. What can I do to push root growth versus top growth?" So one thing, growth regulator will help with that. It does encourage deeper roots. So Primo or a new, either one of them or both of them will also help encourage deeper roots. That is one thing. I'm not sure if you've done a soil test, Abraham, but if you're phosphorus deficient, so if your soil doesn't have phosphorus, that will also help encourage deeper roots. So a couple of things: growth regulator, mowing regularly at shorter heights, and then phosphorus in your fertilizer will also help encourage root growth. So between those three, coupled with time, your lawn will those plugs will establish even more. One question I got for you is, so how do you know if the roots are like 1 inch to 1.5 inches max? Do you just pull one of them up to see, I guess, or it's just interesting to know how you establish that the plugs that you put in a year or so ago, that that you only got 1 to 1.5 inches of roots. So just curious. But yeah, the things that I told you as far as Primo, a new, mowing at shorter heights, and phosphorus, that's going to help encourage deeper roots. And just give it time. Give it time. Offroad NV says, "Missed the memo last week." I did say so. Did mention it. Offroad NV. It was towards the end of the live stream, so apologies for that. But yes, I did mention it towards the end of the live stream. The Maestro says, "The new camera is ridiculously sharp." This one or this one? Are you talking about this one or this one? If you're talking about this one, the Maestro, it's the same camera. It's just a different lens, a different glass. So it's a I think it's a 14 millimeter. Yeah, it's a G Master 14 millimeter. So it's really wide field of view. And I don't have a filter or anything on this, so it does look sharper. And this guy is a very nice lens. So they both look good. So what you see is what you see. Sorry. So hopefully it being sharp, being super sharp isn't a bad thing. Too sharp can be bad. It kind of shows off all your flaws and blemishes, and I got a lot of them. So I may have to do something about that. All right. Next up is Same. He says, at Ron Henry, just trying to learn the difference between the two. I have a bag of Heritage G and I'm trying to cure disease. So yeah, so I covered your question earlier. Biggest difference between Heritage and Headway is Headway is 2 fungicides, whereas Heritage is only 1. So Heritage again is azoxystrobin. Headway is azoxystrobin and propiconazole. Of the two, I would lean towards Headway, which is why it's what I use on my lawn. It's why we carry it. I don't really see a whole lot of upside to Heritage only when you have Headway. So that's why we don't really, that's why you don't see it on the store. We only carry Headway. But having said that, if the disease you're trying to control, if it's azoxystrobin is labeled to control that, and you already got Heritage, like use what you got. Like don't go out and buy more products if you already, like if you've got large pasture, you have some other problem in your lawn, and Headway or the azoxystrobin is labeled to control that. Use it. Use what you have. You know what I mean? I just like Headway because again, you have many of the diseases that propiconazole will control and azoxystrobin will control. Like a lot of them, there's some overlap. So you have two modes of action, two different ways to attack the disease. So it just produces a better result, in my opinion. But if you got Heritage, roll with what you got. All right, next up is Rinsler. It says, what would be the best thing to add to a lawn to help it when it's stressed here in Georgia besides just watering? So a couple of things. You can use a moisture manager like Hydrotain. So we'll go into that. I'll show you really quick here. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to Shop and Soil Moisture Management. In here, you've got Hydrotain available or you have Foreplay, which is Hydrotain, kelp, a humate, and a surfactant. So you've got that. So it's a combination product. You have just Hydrotain available in a granular in 3 sizes, 3 pounds, 15 pounds, and a 40-pound bag. And then finally, you have it in liquid form. So it really just depends on which way you want to go, like what works best for you. Any of them will work well. I give you one advantage would be this, right? Of the granular Hydrotain over the liquid, which is why I primarily use that. I mean, I'm in the minority. Most people more people like the liquid than the granular, but I prefer the granular because with the liquid, you really need the lawn, or you want the lawn to be wet or slightly damp prior to spraying liquid Hydrotain. And then once you have sprayed it, you want to water it in right after application. So it's just something to consider. It's not a big deal, but it's just, given the size of my lawn, I tend to prefer the flexibility that granular gives you. You put the granular Hydrotain out, as long as you get some water on the lawn within a couple of days, kind of like the way you would treat fertilizer. As long as you get water on it between 24, 48 hours, you're going to be good to go. So for those reasons, I lean more towards granular Hydrotain versus liquid. But any of them will work well. Either of them will work well. And again, now it's available with a in a 40-pound bag, which it wasn't until, or I should say it wasn't recently. It's been available in a 40-pound bag for a long time. That's what I use on my lawn. But as far as just carrying it, it's now available in that size. So if you are so interested, you can grab it. And actually, while I'm here, I noticed that the 40-pound bag doesn't have its own thing. So let me fix something really quick here. Bear with me one second. All right, so you will be good to go now. So I'll actually show you here really quickly what I'm talking about. So before it was just 3 pounds, 15 pounds, and that was it. Now you can get it in all 3 sizes. So let me repair something really quick here, and I'll show you guys exactly what I am talking about. All right, so if we go back to the Golf Course Lawn Store, and you go back to moisture managers, and you go to Hydrotain. So you got it in a 3 pound, a 15 pound, and now a 40-pound bag. And as far as coverage, in case you're interested, if you scroll down here, the 40-pound bag does up to 16,000 square feet. So you got all your different coverages there, depending on what is more convenient for you. So that is something I would do, Rinsler, outside of watering. A moisture manager is good. If you want to switch to a higher potassium fertilizer, you can do that. I don't. I just continue to run Humic Max on my lawn. I don't really switch away from Humic Max as temperatures get hotter. If you told me you had a cool season lawn, then I would tell you go with I'll show you really quick here. I would tell you to go with the 12024. So this would be a great option. Like higher potassium is better for stressed lawns. So if you want to switch away from Humic Max to this is a good option. But again, on my lawn, I run Humic Max really from April all the way until September. So, and then I switch back to this. So I open the season with this one. I close the season out with this one. And in between, it is Humic Max every month. So hope that helps. You got some good tips there as far as keeping your lawn looking its best, despite the summer heat. And yeah, the thing with Bermuda, as long as you're feeding it well and it's getting enough water, you're taking care of it, it should be just fine. Bermuda loves heat, so I wouldn't stress about it too much. Next up is Mr. Oliver Rittam. He's in the house. He says, "Happy Thursday, Ron. Mowed 3 days in a row to speed up the grass spread after 14 days post sand leveling. Was going to do another one tonight, but decided to take a break and watch the live stream. 3 days in a row. That's pretty. That's dedicated, man. That's dedicated. I like it. So is it working? Are you noticing that it's starting to fill in a little bit faster, Oliver? So I mean, definitely not going to hurt. The big thing I always tell you is if you're going to increase your mowing frequency, really important that your equipment is sharp. I know that you are really particular about your mower. You take care of it. So just make sure that you are your mower is staying nice and sharp if you are going to be increasing that mowing frequency. You're going to be cutting it like you would cut a green. Make sure your equipment is sharp to prevent the likelihood of you having disease problems. All right. Same says at Ron Henry. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. You are very welcome. No problem at all. And next up, we got Colin. He says, "Appreciate it, Ron. The area to the right side you mentioned just got a compost top dressing, so that is definitely helping it out with catching up with everything else. The backyard also got top dressed as well too. Cool. I like it, man. So that's what we're seeing here, because I said, I said, why is there brown in there? But I get it now. What we're seeing is the top dressing that's kind of showing through. Color looks really good, man. So just keep doing what you're doing. It's going to get even better. Just give it time. It's going to get even better now that you're done with that and the heat's really here. The lawn should really fill in nicely and take off. All right, next up is Fresh Apples. He says, "Hey Ron, I sent you pictures of my lawn. For some reason, some of the Bermuda blades are becoming yellow. Not sure what to do. Do I have pictures from you? I don't see. Well, I see. Yeah, I see one picture that you sent here. And what I'm seeing, well, we can show everybody. We can show everyone together. We can look at this together. So what I am seeing, Fresh Apples, is it looks like some of your grass is growing, and then you have some that's like dead or just like just matted down. Like you see what I mean? Like some of it looks like it's just like a lot of debris, old clippings that are just sitting there in the lawn, because the green, what looks green, looks okay to me. I mean, and at like 3 o'clock, if I look, you can see that, like, I'm not sure if you're real mowing it or not, but a couple of the grass blades, what I'm seeing, they do look pinched. They look pinched a bit. So pinched and like elongated, which is a telltale sign if your reel to bed knife clearance isn't set up properly, to where instead of it cutting the grass, it's kind of it's like pinching it and tearing at it, that you can get that. So what I would do is I would check your reel mower. Let me get the picture back up here so folks can see it. Check your reel mower, make sure it's cutting paper across, and then if you have the ability to turf rake the lawn lightly, again, lightly, for the love of everything holy, do not go out and be too aggressive with this, to clean some of this trash out. That will likely help as well too, because what I'm seeing is I see grass that's green and the color looks pretty good outside of the grass blades that are damaged from what I'm thinking is the mower setup. But there's also a lot of trash in the lawn, like a lot of just dead clippings and that kind of thing. So if you want to clean that out, again, a light turf rake will do that. And yeah, so that's what I would tell you to do. I would say check your equipment, make sure your equipment's nice and sharp, so you're not tearing at the grass or pinching it or doing any of the kind of things that will cause discoloration, that you're getting a nice clean cut. And then if you can lightly turf rake to get that debris out. Another thing you can do too, say you don't have access to a turf rake, if you can get a grass rake, so not like not the solid like steel hard rakes. I'm talking about like a grass rake, one that's got like the I got a picture. I mean, to show you what I'm talking about. I think you should know what a grass rake is, but just in case, I'm gonna get a picture of one here really quick. So let's we can get on Amazon so we can find one. One of the ones that are where the fingers are flexible, like the tines which you use to rake with are flexible. So something that looks something like this, like a leaf rake. I say a grass rake. It's really a leaf rake is what it's called. So something that looks like this, you can use something like that, you know, to get to gently clean a lot of the debris out of the lawn. Because this is, you know, essentially if you look at what a turf rake or scarifier is, you know, it's something like this. If I can find a turf rake here to show you, that's a verticutter. Yeah, this is the turf rake. So if you see, it's basically little spring-loaded fingers that gently can remove debris from the lawn. If we go back to Amazonia and look at this, essentially you got little spring-loaded fingers that can gently remove debris from the lawn. So your grass doesn't know that it's being turf raked or scarified with an actual leaf rake or with a powered piece of equipment. So if you want something on the cheap to get it done to help clean some of that out, you can just use a leaf rake to do the same thing. So just something to consider, especially if you have a smaller area and you're on a budget. I know from what I remember, I think you're like 15 or 16, so you're younger. So maybe getting the budget to go out and buy like a Sunjo is not something your parents are maybe gonna let you do, but getting a, you know, leaf rake for, you know, 20, 30 bucks, that's an easier pill to swallow. So I would look into that. So again, your homework is thing one, check your equipment, make sure that it's nice and sharp, make sure it's cutting paper all the way across. If not, adjust it so that it is. And then thing two is get some of that trash out. So get, you know, a Sunjo if you can get one, or get just a leaf rake just to gently clean a lot of that debris out, and then just give it time. This time of year, Bermuda grows a lot more aggressively, and it should start filling in nicely. So hope that helps. A great question. You have a follow-up and you said, when is a good time to put down Essential G? Now. So pretty much every month. Seriously, I apply Essential G to my lawn every month because in Georgia, it doesn't really, the ground never freezes. We never get like a true winter here, like what you would get, what people think of as far as winter goes, like up in the Northeast. So you can apply it every single month if you wanted to. Certainly during the growing season, once per month is good. And as far as what it helps with, Essential G is all about improving soil quality. It's all about improving the engine that helps your fertilizer to work better. So it's got biochar in it, which you can think of it as like a almost like a mini bank, a nutrient bank that you're putting into the soil. So when you put fertilizer, when you fertilize a lawn, a lot of the fertilizer that you put into the soil, unfortunately, is lost. Like it leaches or moves through the soil profile, and the grass can't benefit from it when that happens, especially if you have sandier soils. Essential G will hold on to some of that and make it available to the grass for longer. So part of the reason why I'm able to get by with fertilizing my lawn at application rates as far as nitrogen goes that are lower than what most people run on Bermuda lawns and still have it look really good is the fact that I use Essential G, that I use biostimulants like Essential G. So it's got biochar in it, it's got compost to help increase the amount of organic material, it's got humate, again, also about increasing that microbial activity, which helps your fertilizer work better, and then reclaimed coffee grounds, and finally silica, which is that's added to it to help improve the not without getting too scientific, helps improve the cell wall strength. So it helps the grass just be hardier. So it helps it resist disease better. So overall, you can think of Essential G as like a vitamin pack, a nutrient pack that is for your soil. It's all about helping your soil work better. So highly recommend it. If you got the budget for it, absolutely add it to your program. I use it once per month as part of whenever I am putting up my fertilizer. So my beginning of the month looks like a mow, Essential G application, and then Humic Max, and that's it pretty much for my granular. And then I'll spray the 901C carbon kit along with the new micronutrient and my growth regulator. That's what I do at the beginning of the month, and then on the 15th I just spray just liquids. So hope that helps as far as answering your questions around Essential G. Great product, great. It does a lot for your soil, and would highly recommend it. Really, really good addition to your program. All right, next up is CPIMS. Colin's up next. He says, edges done. Now, here's the thing, guys. Now, among lawn nerds, right, there's the thing known as the humble brag. So I did give Colin some props on his edge work on the back lawn, and you can see how clean that edge is. Like, I would not be able to produce an edge that crisp with a string trimmer. But he's like, no. For, like, in my case, it would be using a stick edger because, you know, I just use a stick edger. It's consistent, it's easy. I don't, if I make a mistake, I don't like take a big chunk out of the lawn. So it's easy to get consistent results. But for those that have mastered the art of the string trimmer, they don't want you to take, the mastery that it takes to run a clean edge with a string trimmer and associate that with using a stick edger. So he wants his props to be able to say, hey, listen, you see how clean that edge is, how nice, how fresh it's so clean, how straight that is? That was done freehand, man. That was done with my string trimmer, and I got to give you props. We even clap it up for you. Looks really good. Again, I would have thought that would be done with a stick edger because, again, the edges are nice and crisp. So it's humble brag among lawn nerds. Got to put some respect on this man's name. I'm not gonna attribute your edge to a stick edger when you did it, the hard way, the pro way with a string trimmer. So nice work. And again, we'll put some respect on your name because I could not achieve that. So nice work. Next up is Southern Abe. He says, can we still use 901C with the new fertilizers? You can. Here's how I would do it. If you're going to use 901C, I would not use the Turfplex replacement, the 22-3 fertilizer. Reason being is when it comes to supplying the nitrogen demands for your lawn, you really want to use either the 22-3 or release 901C. I would not use both of them together. What you can still do though is you can use the new micronutrient along with it. So I'll run through this really quickly and show you 4 different ways of using those. And I covered this in a short, and it kind of hurts my feelings, Southern Abe, because that means you didn't watch it. But we can run through them all here really quickly. So way option number 1 is just to use the 22-3 by itself. As a fertilizer, it's fairly complete. Again, you got all your macros, your nitrogen, your phosphorus, your potassium in there. It's got some fulvic acid, it's got some kelp. It has a lot of the micronutrients that people care about as far as producing a nice color. So there's iron, zinc, manganese, and magnesium in that. That's another thing as well. So I want to say we added manganese to this, whereas Turfplex did not have that. So it's another thing. In addition to the iron, over the iron increase, it also has an additional micronutrient as well. So you could just run this just by itself. That's option 1. Option 2, to produce an even deeper green in your lawn, you would use the 22-3 fertilizer and then pair that with a micronutrient. So if you're going to do that, let's say you're going to use the 22-3 and the micronutrient together. The rate per the label on both bottles calls for 6 ounces per 1,000 on the low end. However, if you're mixing them together, what I would say is spray the 22-3 at the full 6 ounce per 1,000 rate. But if you're mixing the micronutrient with it, I would back that down. I would mix 3 ounces per 1,000 along with that. Reason being is you've already got some iron in this fertilizer. You've got some iron in here. What you're really getting is the 2% iron that's in this. So that's going to really give you a nice iron kicker, give you an even deeper green, as well as supply the boron and copper that are not in this. So if you're mixing these two together, I'd say 6 ounces per 1,000 and then 3 ounces per 1,000. Now, the question you asked about the Release 901C, if you're going to use Release 901C just by itself, you could use Release 901C and do the micronutrient together. In that case, you would do 901C at 3 ounces per 1,000 because that's the rate that I recommend that you guys use it. And then the micronutrient, you'd go out at 6 ounces per 1,000 because remember, Release 901C doesn't have any iron in it, so you can use this at the full low rate, and that's going to produce a good result. So I'd say Release 901C, 3 ounces per 1,000, and then the micronutrient, that would be 6 ounces per 1,000. So if you're combining it with a carbon kit, you didn't ask this, but we may as well go through this at all and get all this covered. If you're going with a carbon kit, you guys know the carbon kit comes in 2 different variations. There is the Release 0 carbon kit, and there is the Release 901C carbon kit. If you're doing the Release 901C carbon kit, it would be 3 ounces per 1,000 for Release 901C, 3 ounces per 1,000 for NutriKelp, and then for the micronutrient, 6 ounces per 1,000. If you're going to be using the new 22-3 fertilizer, you would not use the 901C carbon kit. You would use the Release 0 carbon kit. And as far as the rates for the carbon kit, it still stays the same: 3 ounces per 1,000, 3 ounces per 1,000. And then for the 22-3, 6 ounces per 1,000, micronutrient, 3 ounces per 1,000. But you know what, Southern Abe? Because I knew I would get this question, there's actually already a short that walks through this. Like literally in the short, I show you both options in like less than 60 seconds. And I say, if you're using 901C, here's what you can mix with it. And I give you the rates. I literally list them all out, like 3 ounces for this, 6 ounces for this. So within a minute, you can be covered to know like what combinations will work well. So kind of like what I covered, but like even more concise, because I had to script it and make sure that I got it all in within 60 seconds, because that's all that YouTube gives you. So I'm going to link that here in the chat for you now. Just watch this. You know, you can step away from the live stream if you want for a minute and come back, but this will get you squared away as far as application rates. But to answer your question, yes, 901C, you can pair it along with the micronutrient and works great. That's how I use it. I use the 901C carbon kit and the micronutrient. That's what I run on my lawn. For who knows, if you guys want next for July, I could switch to the 22.3 and just run that for a month, just so you guys can see. The reason why I don't use the 22.3 is because my soil test results show that I already have adequate amounts of phosphorus. So I'm not really trying to add a lot more phosphorus to the plant, but for 1 month I can run that. And so you guys can contrast and compare. The lawn's gonna look great with either one of them, but I can do that for you guys if you're so interested in seeing it. All right, let's see, fertilizer combination rates. Here you go, Abe. Blends with rates, and there you go. Watch this short, and that will get you all squared away. All right, so we have a super chat, our first one of the evening. Thank you so much, Parallax. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Super chat proceed.
He says, now I know what you guys feel when waiting to start over and have a beautiful and level lawn. Can't wait for spring to come quickly. Yeah, I get it. I mean, it is. Here's the thing with me. I enjoy the downtime during like the winter the little bit of winter we have here in Georgia between like say December until February timeframe. I enjoy that little bit of off time. But it is nice to get back out there and start enjoying working in the lawn again. So I get it. I get what you're saying. So thank you so much, Parallax. Thank you for the super chat. And for that, sir, we will have you be our show sponsor. Make sure I spell this right. So there you go. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have Ruben Flores. Ruben Flores is up next. He says, checking in from stage 3 water restriction, Texas. No one here complaining, so screenshot that because you never hear Texas boy complaining about about rain. Oh, so even though you guys have drought, you're water restricted, you guys are getting enough rain to where it's not a problem. Very cool. Very cool, Ruben. So here's the thing, guys. I know, here's the thing for Texas folks. I know on the live streams, I have said that you guys tend to go from feast to famine, where in the springtime, all you guys complain about saying we get too much water, it's just, there's always floods and there's too much rain. And then comes summertime, all we'll hear is belly aching about that, there's drought, there's no rainfall and all this kind of stuff. So Ruben is saying, hey, even with the water restrictions, we're still good. You're getting, I guess you're saying you're getting rainfall anyway. So maybe this year will be different. It'll be very, very cool. All right, Mary says the longest day of the year. Today's the longest day, huh? So if you want to get out there and work this weekend, I guess would be a great time to get out there and do it if you want to work late when it's cooler, right? So very cool, Mary. Thank you so much for that. Let's next up we have Stephen Toast Thompson. It's a combination question here. He says, what's up, Ron? Getting ready for my bi-weekly spray of PGR on Fert. Have you seen the cyber attack? On the software that the dealerships use. Yep, I have. He says ours have been shut down for 2 days and they don't know when it'll be back up. I thought, man, I know a guy. Over 15,000 dealers in America are hurt by this. Looking forward to catching the replay. Thanks so much, Stephen, for reaching out or for taking some time to come and hang out on the live stream. And good job on getting your PGR and liquid spray done. And yes, I mean, unfortunately there's people with entirely too much time on their hands that just look to do just to create havoc and malice. So I'm sure I'm sure they'll figure out who was behind it, and depending on where they are, they'll get theirs. All right, next up is Ryan Contento. he says, my county, oh boy, here we go. All the comments about not being able to water are coming in now. He says, my county just announced no irrigation notice, and I am new and didn't know about Hydrotain until a few weeks ago, and I didn't use it yet. Yeah, that stings. I mean, it'd be better to have it in the soil already. So no irrigation means none at all. You can't even hand water, or is that they mean like no irrigation whatsoever? So if that's what they say, that's what it is. So sorry, Ryan, but at least you know now for next season or whenever they lift the irrigation restriction, you can use Hydrotain then. And then Randall says, good evening, Ron. The Verticut was done 2 weeks ago, and it's a job, but definitely worth it. Have a great show. I appreciate that, Randall. And for those of you guys who don't know what we're talking about, so it's like verticutting is what this show is all about tonight. So some of the folks that are in the Golf Course Lawn Academy that also verticut their lawn sent some pictures in. So Randall, this is his lawn 2 weeks post verticut. So you can see how nicely the lawn is bouncing back and recovering from it. And then Bryant, he did not verticut, but he turf raked. And in his case, this is how his lawn is looking. I believe he said is like eight days or so afterwards. So again, the color, the biggest thing you notice for me, outside of fixing the cutting issues, like the scalping problems that you tend to have if you don't do these practices, is the color just looks so incredible. The color is a lot richer, and you can see it in both those lawns. This is Bermuda grass, and most people would say, how do you get Bermuda grass to be that deep in color, that green? And a great way is just to get rid of the stuff in it that's brown. Just where all you're seeing is just the leaf. Get rid of all the trash. Get rid of this kind of stuff. Get rid of this, and what's left is just the leaf, which is going to be a nice vibrant green. And then the thing you have to notice too is what you're seeing on in my pile of garbage. There is some green in that. And largely that is because I should have taken a picture prior, like after the turf raking before I mowed, because what turf raking does, verticutting does it too, but what turf raking especially does is it tends to stand the grass up. So you know how Bermuda grows, it's a creeping grass. When you turf rake it, it tends to stand the grass up, and then when you cut the grass, when you mow it, you will see more green come off than what came out of the lawn when I verticut and just turf raked. So I should have taken a picture of that before ahead of time, but yeah, it's the long short of it is when you take a lot of the trash that's in the canopy out, that is not green, this is that dead material, what's left is really helps the lawn to really shine. The stripes look incredible, and the color is really nice too. So in a week or so from now, you guys will see. I'll definitely document it. You guys can see for yourself. All right. Next up is Parallax. He says, do you sell a full package for people like me that needs to do a full renovation or just get everything we need from one place, A to Z? Thank you. Yeah, so as far as I wouldn't say like a full package, because it depends on what you're talking about. From a standpoint of fertilization, we do have a tool on the store that will build out a fertilization program for you that gets you enough liquids for 3 months. So I'll show you where you can find that. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, just go to the homepage, like right here, and we're kind of like what you're asking, Parallax, like not sure where to start. Get started. Click on the Get Started button, and then this will pop up, and this is our fertilization program calculator. Let's say you have I always use a 4,000 square foot lawn because it's easy. So you have a 4,000 square foot lawn, and you have warm season or cool season grass. It asks that because depending on what kind of grass type you have this time of year, the fertilizer recommendation will change. So the algorithm that's behind this that I wrote last year takes that into consideration. Next question it'll ask you is, are you spoon feeding? Yeah, because it's awesome. And then the next question is, do you need phosphorus or not? Does your soil need phosphorus? That will also change the fertilizer recommendation, because as a general rule, I don't like recommendation, especially in granular fertilizer. I don't like recommending that you apply a granular fertilizer with phosphorus unless you absolutely need it. So if you don't need that, we don't recommend it. And then next up is, do you need growth regulator? Yep, of course, because Primo is awesome. And then finally, granular biostimulants. Basically, this is the essential G question. Do you want that? And if you hit next, what that will do is it builds out a program that gets you a bag of Humic Max. That's enough for about 3 months of applications. It gets you a carbon kit, which gets you 3 months of applications, and then it gets you an appropriate amount of Primo Max and 2 bags of Essential G, which is enough to cover you. So as far as an easy way, like, to build out a program that you simply just add to your cart, it'll throw all those in your cart and you can just check out. This is an easy way to take care of the fertilization aspect of your program. The second part, which is around like your preventative practices, like your insecticide, fungicide, those types of things. If you go to the golf course lawn store and then go to lawn care schedule, and then you click on the month-by-month application schedule, which is option 5, this breaks down month by month what I recommend. And there's a lot of people that follow this and they get really good results. And this essentially is what we teach in the Golf Course Lawn Academy without the rates that, because in the Academy we're a bit more detailed, but this gives you a high level of what is in the calendar in the Golf Course Lawn Academy. So for June, growth regulator, consistent mowing. You see, that's a theme. It's a consistent theme. Consistent mowing, consistent mowing, consistent mowing. But for June, you would consistently mow. You would add Humic Max or your fertilizer of choice at 3 pounds per thousand. And then next up, you have your carbon kit application, and then your second fungicide app. Because if you've followed my content for any period of time, you know that I'm a big fan of doing a preventative fungicide application in May and then again in June. So the second one, if you're following my program, would be done this month. So hence why it talks about it there. And then finally, Essential G. So between this, which covers your preventatives, like your insecticides, your fungicides, and that calculator that I showed you earlier, you'll be good to go. And the calculator is also accessible as well here too. So if you just go to resources and then lawn fertilization calculator, you can also find it as a standalone page there as well. But it's front and center at the beginning of the homepage. You can go there and you can use that to build out your program and go from there. So I'll link both for you, Parallax, so you'll be all squared away. So this is the link to the fertilization calculator. Calculator, and excuse my spelling, calculator, and then also the lawn care schedule. So you'll have both of them. So between these two, you're going to be in good shape. If you follow this, you're going to get a good result on your lawn, coupled with consistent mowing, obviously. Like if you do your part and you apply the products at the recommended rates, it's pretty difficult to not have a pretty awesome lawn. So hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, do let me know. But yeah, that's the closest that we have to a complete package, because it's really difficult to depending on, here's why also a big part of why we don't do why I don't add fungicides and insecticides to it, because depending on where you are in the country, there's not all states, like we can't sell the all the products in every state. Like for example, I think New York, there's some restrictions on some of the products. So just to make things easier, we separated fertilization from insecticides and fungicides. So that's why they're not all in there. There was a version of it that did all that too, but I said no, this is there's too much if this then that in it, and many people are getting enough value out of just the fertilization like calculator / bundle builder. So take a look at that, and if you have any feedback, let me know. All right, next up is Lucinda. Says, thank you, you're very welcome. Next up is my favorite, even though I don't really care for Clemson as a football team, I mean, it's kind of crazy that Clemson even has a football team. Robert is a cool guy. I've met him before, and he comes in and supports the live stream, so we have to like him. He says, hey Ron, happy Thursday. What height would you recommend verticutting and turf raking if I mow at 3/4 of an inches? I have an Allet Kensington. Great question, Robert. So with your Kensington, 2 to 4 millimeters above the surface is what I would recommend. The answer is the same, whether you're mowing at 1/2 inch or you're mowing at 1 inch or you're mowing at 3/4 of an inch, it still stays the same. You would verticut at 2 to 4 millimeters above the surface. You would turf rake or scarify, again, at 2 to 4 millimeter above the surface. That's going to get you a great result without unnecessarily stressing the turf, which is going to help speed up recovery. So hope that helps, sir. I'm still holding out the faith that eventually you'll come around to to start becoming a Bulldogs fan. You know, you're not that far away, so no, it's not a stretch for you to start back in Georgia. But until then, we'll you know, we'll still love you from a distance, I guess, even though you're a Clemson fan. And yeah, so the height doesn't change. The height doesn't change really between the two of them. Just above the surface of the soil is what you're after. All right, next up is Cody. Cody's in the house. He says, "Got my micros today, Ron. Excited. Nice. I like it. Keep me posted on the results. Take pictures before and then after. Appreciate the support and keep me posted, like I said." Next up is Munir Mahid is in the house. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron," although it's really Thursday, but I get it. You're used to saying Friday. He says, "Drop the true cutoff for a sharpening and it's out for a week." You know what, Munir? Even though it's not new equipment being purchased, we're going to clap it up for that because, you know, you have to recognize someone that's taking their lawn care maintenance or their equipment maintenance seriously. So I appreciate that. Good job. She's sending the equipment out, send the baby off to get her sharpened up, tuned up. Good job. He says, "PGR is doing its thing, but the green lights are starting to rise. I think I'm in for pulling out the manual reel mower tomorrow." I mean, yeah, man, you give the manual reel mower some love, and then when you get your true cut back, you can put it back out there. You'll be good to go. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. The grass, your lawn does not know whether it's mowed with a manual reel mower or a powered reel mower. It's not like your grass is, you know, it's like that uppity to where, like, you know, if I go and I go put the Greens Master on the lawn, it's not like, oh no, this is Allet country. We only want that British mower on the lawn. It's not like that. It doesn't know. It doesn't know the difference. As long as it's sharp. Now, if you go out there and you put the manual reel mower on the lawn and it's all like dull, like it's like a butter knife, that the lawn will know and it will punish you for that. So I'd say if you're going to use your manual reel mower, make sure it's sharp. But outside of that, your lawn will not complain. It will not talk back. It won't file a grievance. It will be okay. When the true cut returns, it'll be like it never even left. Next up is Mars Bees. It says, "Hello and happy Thursday. Just here to learn. Cheers." Thanks so much, Mars Bees. Thank you for coming to hang out in the live stream. Appreciate you. And then next up, we have Duramax LML. He says, "Hey, Ron, can we fertilize through the summer with a granular? Will it damage the lawn? I have hybrid Bermuda." Yes, you can. You can absolutely feed the lawn during the summer. Will it damage it? Not at all. And yes, I mean, my lawn sees fertilizer from really March all the way until September, October timeframe. You're not going to damage the lawn by fertilizing during the summer. What I would tell you is, you know, be cognizant of the rates that you're using. So when I put out a granular fertilizer, I'm only putting out about half a pound of nitrogen from granular fertilizer. That's enough to feed the lawn to meet the nutrient demands, and it's not going to push a whole lot of excessive growth. But to answer your question in a nutshell, yes, you can do it, and no, it's not going to damage the lawn. Water it after application, and you're good to go. So yeah, great question, Duramax LML. I guess you got a big truck, got Duramax, man. That's what you're rolling with. Got that big truck, big truck life. All right, Duramax, that's a good question because I'm sure other people are all going to have that as well too. You didn't ask, but as far as fertilizers that I use this time of year on my lawn, which happens to be hybrid Bermuda grass, is Humic Max. So it is this guy. I'll show you. If you go, you know what, let's make it easy. Just go to the homepage because I have them all there for you. If you go to the homepage, we've got like our summer catalog, the list of products that are great to use on your lawn during the summer. So you got your liquid fertilizers, you got Humic Max. There you go. That's what I use on my lawn. You need herbicide or weed control. You got you covered there. But this is what I run on my lawn. You can go through the list here, but this is what I roll with. My lawn gets it every month, and it loves it. Looks absolutely great. Next up, we have someone with poor taste in football teams. Our Fragrance Journey's up saying, "Sup, Ron? Go Dogs." I appreciate that, Fragrance Journey. Thanks for coming by to stop by and say hello. As always, I appreciate you coming here just to try and antagonize me, as always. And then Bo Michael says, "I just got my Primo Max off your website. Looking forward to spraying that down." Very, very awesome, Bo. Thank you so much for the support. If you've never sprayed Primo before, please read this blog post. I've got it linked in the chat earlier, but if you I changed the page. But if you've not read this blog post, it's a short one. It talks all about growth regulator. and we'll give you some tips on how to get a good result when using it. So please take the 5 minutes or so to read this. Again, not only because a lot of work went into writing it, but also because it's short and concise, and it's going to give you some great application tips to help you get a really good result with using a growth regulator on your lawn. So take a look here. That is what I would follow. And long and short of it is, you didn't say what kind of grass you have, but I'm a huge fan of spraying Primo at half rates. So whatever the full rate is for your grass types. If you look at the label, like for example, for Bermuda grass, it'll say for hybrid Bermuda, it'll say like 0.25 or ounces or quarter of an ounce per thousand up to 0.38 ounces per thousand for hybrid Bermuda grass, where you take that rate, which is what Syngenta expects you to spray once per month, and cut it in half and just spray it every 2 weeks. And your lawn's not going to come out of regulation. You're not going to have any of the negatives. And I've found that it produces really good results. So I'd highly recommend that you do that. And that blog post that I just linked to you in the chat has the rates that I'm talking about. It has it all broken out for you and explains the why behind what I am suggesting. So take a look at that. And again, appreciate all the support. Our Fragrance Journey says, I am so sick of seed heads. You know why you got seed heads? Because you come in here all the time, speaking that hatred. We're coming in here with roll tide all the time. That's what it is, man. That's what happens. That's what happens. That's what you get. The lawn gods are saying, you know what, this man is messing with Ron. He's here trying to do the live stream. He's coming here talking about I'm going to name the team, but that other football team. That's what happens. You get seed heads in your lawn. But long and short of it, our Fragrance Journey, seed heads, that should be going away by now, man. All jokes aside, that should be, you should be on the tail end of that. For most lawns, it's like a 3 to 4 week problem, assuming a couple of things. One, nutrient is where it needs to be. So if you've not done a soil test, I would consider doing that. If the lawn is getting enough water, so if you're in Alabama, you guys should be getting plenty of rainfall. Like we get rainfall here, and if not, water your lawn. And between those two things, that really should not make seed heads be, again, a 3 to 4 week problem. If it goes into July and it's still there and you still haven't done a soil test, I would really recommend that you do that, because that will cause them to stick around longer. What will not fix them, and you probably already know this, is if you try and mow shorter. So you say, oh, the seed heads, I'm mowing my lawn at an inch and a half, so I'm going to mow it at like an inch. So that way the seed heads won't grow in. Mowing shorter will not get rid of them. They'll just grow shorter. What you'll just end up is just like a little piece of stalk and a seed head sticking out of it. So you'll just have like a little nub with a seed head on it. So really take what I'm saying to heart, as far as make sure you're getting enough water on the lawn, and then check the nutrient, the amount of nutrient that's in the soil, because between those two, it shouldn't be sticking around this long. Like my lawn has already gone through it. It's already, I've got my seed heads. It happens every single year, and it's probably been 2 weeks since I haven't really been seeing any new ones anymore. So you shouldn't be seeing that in your lawn. Again, assuming those two things I'm talking about, enough water and the soil nutrient levels are where they need to be. And again, you know what? If you get better taste in football teams, maybe the lawn care gods will say, hey, we'll take seed heads away from you. But if you don't, maybe they'll just stick around for a little bit longer. And he says, I always come into the chat to give my weekly roll tide, but I would really love the origin story of the golf course lawn store. Sure. So I've told this a couple of times, but the idea behind the golf course lawn store was, if you guys look at some of my older content, I was using a fertilizer from Lebanon called Proscape. So it's like it's not their premium line. It's still a great fertilizer, but it was not their premium line like what you guys are getting access to in Humic Max and in the Country Club line. So I was using that for a while. And then I also got one of the Country Club fertilizers. Like there's a local supplier here that got their 20, I think it's a 22016 that they used to carry. So I got that in, and I was running that for a while too. If you look at some of my older content, you would see it. And I should have like screenshot or saved the comment, but someone made a comment to me because I was talking about like my video on how to get a golf course lawn. And I was talking, if you look at the videos, that's years and years, probably 5 or 6 years old at this point. And someone in that wrote to me and they said, yeah, it's really easier for you to get a really great looking lawn because you have access to all these products and we can't get them. So the producers are saying that the products are what's making the lawn look the way it does. And they do play a big part of it. But I also say, you guys always hear me talk about it. I say, listen, the products by themselves are not going to do it. You have to regularly mow. You have to do all the things to get a great result. So the idea behind the store was to remove that. So now, like literally the same products, when you guys see me out on the lawn, the same growth regulators, the same fertilizers, granular fertilizer, the same liquid fertilizer, the same fungicide, the same insecticide, the same stuff that I use on my lawn, you guys all have access to in the golf course lawn store, which is why you see that what the number of offerings isn't really huge, like compared to like a place that offers, lawn care products, because the focus is so targeted. It's really designed for people that are trying to grow the best possible stand of turf grass as they can. And they want access to premium products that are used by the professional turf industry that can also be used at home. That's the design ethos behind this, to remove the I hate to say the excuse, but the excuse of like, I can't get the same stuff that you're using, and that's why my lawn can't look good. Well, now you can. They're all there. They can be shipped to your door. And if you do the work, you got no reason to not have an amazing lawn, which is why if you look a lot up with the store, it's not just a bunch of products, because there's a lot of places that just have just products listed and like, buy it and figure it out and good luck to you, right? Best of luck. That's why I'm really, really adamant about the other content that goes along with it. So for growth regulator, I want to make sure that there was like content on how I like to use growth regulator, some techniques for using it, video to help support it, like pretty much the idea behind it is to teach like how to teach my way, my philosophy of getting an amazing lawn. I'm not saying it's the only way, but it is a way, and it definitely does work. And to supply the products, but also to supply, more importantly, the knowledge that goes along with it. You see what I mean? So that's why if you look at the store, it's not just the products here. It's, if you go to resources, we have a knowledge base that has guides for beginners, that's got guides for every single season. If you go to the blog where we put content out every week, we talk about like lawn diseases, how to level your lawn, how to use growth regulator, how to help keep your lawn looking good in the summer heat. So questions that we get like around like particular weeds, foxtail, crabgrass, like, all that. You pretty much are building out a catalog of what I think is really well written content that's going to help you like solve the particular problem that you have in your lawn. And then we have the products that help you do that. Now, whether you buy the products from us or not, I mean, I'd appreciate it if you did, but I mean, the big thing is the knowledge that goes along with it, because it's like what we are doing from a standpoint of the products. A lot of them, not all of them, but some of them you can get in other places. But the knowledge, the connectedness of how it all works together, that is what you don't really find elsewhere, and that's what we really shoot for. So that's in a short description, I guess, as to why the store, how it came to be, and then why I'm so adamant about content to help people get a good result. It's partly why I do the live stream every single week. You think about it. I mean, as far as a lawn care live stream that takes your questions every single week, it's something in August. It'll be 4 years of doing this, partly because I just want to know what problems you guys are having in your lawn so that I can write content to make sure that is covered and addressed. It helps me learn. It helps you guys get better, and it's just a great. I think it's just a great service to the community. I mean, if it doesn't come across, I am really, really serious about great looking lawns. Like if you're asking someone like how to grow nice azaleas or how to grow a rose garden, I am not your guy. Like literally, I mean, if you want a great stand of turf grass, I can help with that. Like that is what I spend a lot of my free time thinking about, and when I have access to people that also work in industry, that's what I pick their brain about, and that's what gets translated into the content that you guys find in the store. So hope that helps answer your question, our fragrance journey. Again, if we can just fix your taste in football teams, I feel like you and I would get along really well. But until we do that, it's gonna have to love you from a distance, kind of like Robert. All right. Next up is Corey. He says, I know that it's been said that overseeding may look bad on hybrid Bermuda grass due to color patches. Is there any hybrid Bermuda seed you may know of, or is it typically all common? Yeah, so the closest improved common, or the closest that I've come across to a hybrid Bermuda grass seed, because Arden 15 was marketed as a hybrid, as Bermuda grass that was a hybrid but available in seed. Like that is the closest I've seen. If you look at any of the other ones, Monaco, Yukon, they look great. They're great looking grasses, but they are what are considered more improved common Bermuda. So I would not really mix those with hybrid, because what you're going to find is a couple of things. Is common Bermuda tends to have more of a lime greenish color than hybrid Bermuda. Hybrid Bermuda tends to be a deeper, richer green, and common Bermuda tends to I mean, it's still green, but it tends to be a lighter green, which makes it stand out. The leaf blade, like the leaf of common Bermuda, is also quite a bit thicker. So in a lawn that has common and hybrid in it, and my lawn has some, like my lawn is primarily hybrid, but there's a few patches of common throughout there. Like common, especially if you're not using growth regulator, will stick out like a sore thumb. Like you'll absolutely see it from a color standpoint. And then if you walk up to it, just the texture of the grass is very different. Like hybrid is a very fine leaf blade. Common is quite a bit thicker. So for that reason, and because of the fact that you can't get Arden 15 anymore or Princess 77 anymore, I really would not recommend that you introduce Bermuda grass seed into your hybrid lawn, because it's more than likely going to be an improved common, and it's more than likely not going to match. And unfortunately, with Bermuda grass, like the thing that's good about Bermuda is also bad about Bermuda, meaning that the good thing is that it's practically impossible to kill, short of like glyphosate and fusilade. So you can abuse it, you can really beat on it, and it keeps coming back. The negative is once it's in your lawn, getting rid of it is really tough, right? So don't. I really would try and discourage you from introducing any kind of improved common into your hybrid Bermuda lawn, because it's unlikely to match, and you're just not going to be happy with it, and you can't really get rid of it once it's there. And what you'll end up doing is using a combination of growth regulators. So you can use Primo. Primo by itself does a pretty good job, but something that I've been playing with this year and really love the results, hence why we started carrying it, is mixing a new EZ, which is another growth regulator, along with Primo. Using both these together does a really good job of hiding the appearance, of masking the appearance of common Bermuda in a hybrid lawn. The reason for it is this, right? Actually, well, why would a new help do that, whereas Primo doesn't? Reason being is that for Primo, there are two rates. There's a rate for hybrid Bermuda grass, which is between a quarter of an ounce to 0.4 ounces per thousand. And then for common Bermuda, it's quite a bit higher. It's like 3 times the rate. It's like 0.75 ounces per thousand square feet for common Bermuda. So the problem you run into is if you have a hybrid lawn, right, that's primarily hybrid, and you have some common in it, it's difficult to spray the common Bermuda with Primo alone at the rates that really regulate the growth in the common without injuring the hybrid, because you'd end up spraying the hybrid lawn at like 3 times the rates, which is going to cause a problem. A new EZ doesn't make that distinction. So as far as regulating more evenly, meaning if you look at the label, there's not really a distinction between common Bermuda rate and hybrid Bermuda rate. There's just a single rate. So that's why if you stack a new along with Primo, you get a really nice result. Because the question you're probably asking yourself is, well, if a new can regulate more evenly, why not just use a new by itself, but not use Primo? The one negative to a new is that it doesn't last quite as long. So Primo has a as far as regulation goes, lasts quite a bit longer than a new does. So using it by itself, this time of year, you'd be spraying a new on warm season turf grass like every 10 days or so, which is kind of a pain. So the best of both worlds, or a good way to get around that, is to mix a new and Primo. That way you get the more even regulation of a new and the extended regulation of Primo. So using them together produce a great result. If you look at New Farm's website, like they have some documentation actually on doing that, of saying, hey, like here's what happens if you only use Primo, and if you stack a new with it, you get even better regulation. So even the manufacturer's done testing with this, and it's something. In other words, what I'm saying is not something that I invented or that is new. The rates that I use are the rates that I came up with. I mean, they give different rates, and the rates that I'm using are ones that I find work well on Bermuda, and they're in the video that's in this blog post, so the one I was telling you about. So if you go to this blog post on plant growth regulation, and you scroll down, like this one is about growth regulator. This one is about using growth regulator and spraying it at half rates. And then this video is about using Anew and Primo together. So like the 3 videos that I have that are most current on growth regulators are all in that blog post. And this is the one that that is from this year that talks about using Anew Easy and Primo. And again, if you have a Bermuda lawn and there's any kind of comment in it, I would highly recommend giving it a shot, because it really does make a difference as far as just, again, the common doesn't go away, but you don't see it because everything shuts down and stops growing. It all kind of grows more evenly, so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb like it does if you don't use growth regulator or if you only use Primo at rates that are safe for hybrid Bermuda grass. Hope that helps, Corey. It's kind of a mouthful, but I wanted to give you a whole lot of reason as to why to not do that, and then like everything, all the considerations you're going to have to make if you decide to go ahead and do it anyway, and how to solve some of the problems. Okay. Next up is Matthew Woodson. He says, my soil test shows that I'm high on phosphorus. Will the 22-3 fertilizer still be okay to use since it's only 2%? Thanks. It's really your call. It is a foliar fertilizer, so as far as like building up nutrient levels in the soil, it's not going to be as efficient of doing that versus using a granular. But if your soil test results are showing elevated phosphorus levels already, what I would say is use 901C. So that's a great question. I mean, in the video that is yet to release, I actually cover this very topic. But if you were to go and use 901C in place of the 22-3, now you're getting nitrogen, you're getting phosphorus, you're getting nitrogen, you're getting potassium, you're getting the 10% micronized carbon, but you're not adding extra phosphorus to the plant if you're trying to avoid that. So again, 901C, so the 901C carbon kit stacked with the micronutrient, this guy is a great combo. That is literally what I am doing on my lawn. But that's what I'm spraying with. Again, so if you wouldn't be breaking new ground if you decided to go that route, and it also helps avoid what you're talking about, which is, you know, adding more phosphorus to a lawn or a soil that already has some in it. So it's really your call, Matthew. 901C and the 901C carbon kit and the micronutrient are the way that I would go. And again, if you look through the chat, there's a video that I already linked that shows the combinations, the various combinations, and how I would use them together. So hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, let me know. But yeah, 901C and the micronutrient, and you're good to go. All right, next up is Terrence Stamps. He's in the house. He says, good evening, Ron and all. I hope everyone is having a great week. With temps very high, is it best to pull our weeds now rather than spraying them? I have some crabgrass that I am trying to get rid of. Thanks. It's really your call, Terrence. I mean, if you only got a few pieces of crabgrass here and there, yeah, pull them. I mean, you know, herbicides, while herbicides are a great tool, they are just that, they're a tool. So if you only have a few weeds here and there, like why spray herbicides if you don't have to? You know, just go out and manually pull the weeds and go on with your day. The thing with crabgrass too, to keep in mind, is that even though, take for example, like quinclorac, which is an excellent herbicide for controlling crabgrass, even it has trouble with crabgrass as it gets more and more mature. So, you know, the sooner you can get it, you either pull it or spray it, the better results you're going to get. So it's really your call. Really, there's not really a problem with using herbicide now if you need to, but if you only have, again, a few clumps of crabgrass here and there, and you can pull them out, just do that. It's gonna be faster. You're not spraying herbicides, and you know, it accomplishes the same result. The weed is gone. All right, next up is Bo Michael. He says, what are your thoughts on spraying DEF? So DEF, by that you mean diesel exhaust fluid. I'm not a fan of it. I mean, I know some people use it as a source or as an inexpensive source of nitrogen. But the thing is, I mean, one, it's not designed for use on turf grass. And if I'm going to be spraying my lawn, if you look at all the fertilizers, the products that I use, right, as far as my nitrogen source, like I don't spray straight urea. I don't spray straight nitrogen at any time. Like you've never seen a single video of me in the entire time of me doing YouTube where I've ever done that. So I'm saying that the reason for that is that there's so many benefits to using combination products that I just don't see the benefit of using something that is, one, not designed for use on turf grass. That's thing one. And when there's so many other liquid fertilizers that are excellent blends that also contain a bit of micronutrient, humic acid, that have some kelp in them, that have all these other benefits outside of just nitrogen, to help represent a more complete feeding. So it's kind of a novelty in my mind. I mean, can you do it? Sure, there's people that do it, and I guess and really the only reason I could say is that I guess it's cheaper. I mean, I don't know how much cheaper it really is compared to like using like just urea. Maybe it is. Maybe it maybe it is a bit cheaper. But I mean, for me, uh, it's not something that I would do. It's not something I'm ever going to recommend. I am a huge fan of blended liquid fertilizer products, ones that do a bit of everything. So you have your nitrogen, obviously, but also they have a bit of micronutrient in them, that have biostimulants in them, because it does a better job feeding the plant versus just putting out just N. Because if you were to use something like that, like DEF, right? All you're supplying is nitrogen. You still got to find a source for potassium. You still have to find a source for micronutrients. If you decide you're going to also use biostimulants, like kelp, fulvic acid, you have to find another source for those. So it's kind of a pain to have to go and just to find all these different products, versus you could just buy this. And this has all those things in it. So you got nitrogen, if you need phosphorus, it's got that too. You got potassium, you got fulvic acid, you got humic acid, it's got micronutrients, it's got everything. You know what I mean? And it's designed for use on turf grass. There's also that. So for that reason, I would just use a product that is actually designed for lawns versus something that's designed to go in diesel automobiles. So hope that helps. I wouldn't do it, but different strokes for different folks. Whatever makes you happy. Next up is Ruben Texeria. He says, Ron, hope all is well. How many times do you water your lawn in the summer? This time of year, I am watering 3 times per week. 3 times per week. Although, after verticutting, I have added an additional irrigation cycle in the afternoon. I have put water on it after verticutting, the day after I did it. And then today I ran an irrigation cycle, because the lawn's not going to get water. Let me think. Today's Thursday, so it'll get water tomorrow morning, and then it won't get water again until Monday. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday is my current watering schedule, and I've added a couple of cycles in the afternoon, because the lawn just got verticut. So I'm just trying to put some water on it to help it recover a bit sooner. So 3 times is 3 times per week. And then you say once a day in the morning. Yes, typically, yes. That is my normal watering schedule. It's once in the morning, but it's 3 times a week, not every morning. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday is my schedule. I might actually be able to show you. Let me see here, so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. Let me see. Program start times. There you go. So you can see. Well, there's three dots, and those 3 dots represent Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and in between there are dots that are not highlighted, because those are the other days of the week. So 3 days per week is what my irrigation schedule runs currently. And then next up, you say once a day in the morning. I also got some light spots, just like disease. What do you recommend? So what I would recommend is, one, don't water. I don't think you need to water every day, especially if you have warm season grass. So not really necessary. 2 to 3 times per week is going to be plenty. And then if you have some disease in your lawn, then you could, a couple of things, depending on what it is, you might try just reducing your watering, because there are some diseases that if you're putting too much water in the lawn, it tends to create conditions where they can manifest. Outside of that, you can apply a fungicide. If you just want to be super cautious and not let it spread or get worse, you could go with a fungicide. So I'll show you some options there. If you go to shop and fungicide, insecticide, there's 2 different options that I'd really recommend. You've got Pillar SC, which is a liquid fungicide, liquid product that has 2 fungicides in it. Or you can go with Headway G, which is a granular fungicide or granular product, but again, with 2 fungicides. They both have the same modes of action. They're both groups 3 and 11. Headway G is azoxystrobin and propiconazole, and Pillar SC is pyraclastostrobin, and the other one starts with a T. I forget what the other one is. Let me tell you. Let's see here. The other one is tritaconazole. So tritaconazole and pyraclastostrobin are the active ingredients within Pillar. But the long short of it is you're not really losing anything between the two. The liquid's going to work a little bit faster, but they both are a very effective fungicides. So if you just pick whichever one is easier for you to apply, based on your preference, and go from there. So I'll send you a link to where you can pick that up if you're interested, Ruben. But also, again, I would back your watering down some. I would back the watering down. If you're watering every single day, again, warm season grass really doesn't tend to need that, and it tends to create more problems than it solves. For example, I actually did that very thing a couple of years ago. I watered. I think I watered every single day for a couple of weeks, and I ended up having some issues with Pythium in my front lawn. I only did it on the front lawn, and then I reduced the watering, and the problem went away. Right, so just don't. I also put out a fungicide, but don't. Overwatering will create more problems than it solves. So don't. I would highly recommend that you don't do that. And you get the fungicides there as well. So hopefully that helps you. We got a super chat from Mr. Ruben. Thank you so much, Ruben.
Super chat received.
He says, show us your latest soil test results and talk us through what you are seeing. Oh man, do I have them? I'm not sure if I can pull them up so I can find them really quick. My latest ones are going to be, let me log in here really quick. Give me a second, Ruben. And here, and here we go. All right, so these are, wait, nope, that's not right. This is my latest one. And yeah, if you look here, the reason why I use 901C on my lawn, so we'll share. You'll see, if you look at my phosphorus levels, you see where they are. That's why I'm using 901C instead of like the 22-3 fertilizer. As far as where things are overall, I'm pretty happy with them. My pH is really where it should be. I mean, for the most part, this doesn't really move around too much. This fall, I might add some. I might do a calcitic lime application, because compared to where my pH was in the last test, this is trending down a little bit. So this fall I'll likely do a lime app, but overall we're in pretty good shape. I like where things are. I was planning to do a soil test between May and June of this year, and I just didn't get around to it. I just fertilize the lawn, so I really can't do one until, I guess I could do one the end of this month. I could do one next weekend if I wanted to, because I'm supposed to fertilize again in July. So I could pull cores again and do another one if you guys want to see that. But this is the most recent. And again, overall, you can see nutrient levels, everything looks pretty good. Again, phosphorus is up there a little bit, so I'm not using a granular fertilizer that has any phosphorus in it. So for example, if you were to look at like our fertilizer options, like right here, like this, like I would avoid this in my lawn because I don't need any phosphorus, which is why this calculator, one of the questions that it asks you is, do you need phosphorus or not? Because if you do need phosphorus, then it'll recommend the 14-7-14, but if you don't, it avoids recommending that fertilizer. So hope that helps, Ruben. And if you, hopefully that was interesting to you as far as seeing where my soil test results are, as far as where the nutrient levels are, pretty even, pretty flat. Biggest thing I keep an eye on my lawn is the pH, because that's the thing that takes the longest to correct if it gets out of whack. So it's still fine now, but this fall I will do a calcitic lime app. So hopefully that was as interesting for you as it was for everybody else. And I think you are our highest super chat. So now you will be the show sponsor. So Ruben Flores, there you go. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Thanks so much for all the love and support. All right. So next up we have, what's that can't hear? He says, have you tried putting shampoo down your lawn? Does it work? I've already put down Hydrotane and curious about the shampoo thing. Years and years ago, I've not done shampoo over the entire lawn. What I have done in years past, and when I say years past, this is probably like 2018, 2019. I did put some dish soap in a 5-gallon bucket and would spot water some areas of my lawn that were dry. I did do that, and it seemed to help. Now, here's the thing: I didn't have like two dry spots and just do only water on one and do water and soap on another one to see if there was a noticeable difference. So it's kind of hard to say for sure. And I just went to Hydrotain because it's easier. I mean, you just put it out, water it, and then it just works. So I've done it. I've never done anything what I would consider to be an actual test to compare the two to be able to say that yes, there's a noticeable difference by putting shampoo in like a 5-gallon bucket of water and putting it on dry spots in your lawn. It's probably not going to hurt, but I just don't know how much better it is than just using actual water. And the nice thing again with using an actual moisture manager like Hydrotain is that it lasts longer. Like the residual on Hydrotain is much longer than what you would get from just using soapy water. All right, next up is Ruben Texeria. He says, what's better, liquid spray or regular fertilizer? Both. So if you're asking what's better, liquid fertilizer or granular fertilizer, it's not really an either or. What I would say is this: they both have strengths and weaknesses. So if you are trying to increase the nutrient levels in the soil, granular I find tends to work better. So if you're looking to build up nutrient levels in the soil, granular is good. And granular also tends to feed longer than liquids do. When it comes, the benefits to liquids is that they work a lot faster. So if you apply granular fertilizer to your lawn and water it in, 5 to 7 days is what you're going to have to wait before you see a color response in the lawn. Whereas with liquids, 2 to 3 days, you'll see a response. Like if you spray a liquid fertilizer with some iron in it, you'll notice a response, a color difference in the lawn in just a couple of days. Another benefit in my mind for liquids versus granular, and why I think both of them really make a lot of sense, is that if you are using, say, growth regulator on your lawn, so using Primo or a new EZ on your lawn, when you're spraying those, I spray those as liquids, and having or mixing a little bit of liquid fertilizer in along with them is also a good thing. It helps prevent tip burn. It's also puts a little bit of nutrient in the plant and in small amounts. So to say one or the other is not real. I mean, it's not. You can't just do only granular. You can only just do liquids. The best result is to do them both together in an appropriate way. So what I would say is use granular for the majority of the nutrient needs from like the macros, from like your nitrogen, your phosphorus, your potassium. Like get the majority of that from granular fertilizer, and then you can spray liquid fertilizer at low rates to even out the color and growth. Because another point of why using them together is important, or why I like the results I get with it, is that when you apply a granular fertilizer, what you tend to find is you apply the fertilizer, and then a week or so later, when it begins to, the plant begins absorbing it, you start seeing a response, is that you get a nice flush of growth and color, and then it begins to slowly fall off. So you get like a peak of growth, and then it softens. If you use liquid and granular, it smooths that out. So with liquids, you're spraying liquids at low rates, and the color of the lawn tends to stay more even throughout the month versus just using granular alone. So both is what I would say, which is why you always hear me talk about spoon feeding so much, which is why there's blog posts on the store about spoon feeding. So I'd say both. For a regular fertilization program, I use a combination of granular and liquid fertilizers. If you want to know how I do it, I will find the spoon feeding blog post and share that with you. This guy right here on why you should start spoon feeding your lawn, why it's awesome. So take a look at this, Ruben. This talks all about spoon feeding and the benefits. And I like show products, and I even give you application rates for starting out. You can tweak and play with it from there if you want, but that's a good starting base for someone that's looking to start a spoon feeding program. The big thing is you want to be mindful of is you don't want to put out a granular fertilizer at heavy rates and then also go out there and spray liquids at high rates. You want to make sure that the total amount of nitrogen that you're putting into the lawn from both sources is under a pound of nitrogen per month. And in my case, if you follow the rates during that blog post, you'll end up around 7/10 of a pound of nitrogen, which for me on my lawn, coupled with my biostimulant program, works really well. So play with that, see what kind of results you get with it, and then you can adjust from there as you see fit. But it's not really an either or, in my opinion. If you want the absolute best results, both. All right, we have another. Let's see, and so another super chat. This one's from James Smith.
Super chat.
He says, "I've
received.
seen a few drops used as cheaper surfactant before." Yeah, so if you're talking about like soap, yeah, I've seen people talk about using like dish soap as surfactant. But again, like actual surfactant designed for turf grass, like a spreader sticker, is not expensive. This stuff is not that pricey, and it's designed for turf grass. And it's also, what you'll find is this stuff, like a proper surfactant, is going to foam less than using dish soap. Like you put dish soap in your sprayer tank, unless you are like, you take the nozzle off and you just run water in there without like really agitating or pushing air into the tank as well. You're going to end up with like a bunch of suds in your tank if you use soap as your surfactant. Whereas with a spreader sticker, you get a lot less of that. So again, use products that are designed for turf grass if you can, especially when the cost of them really isn't that much. It's not like you're really saving a lot by using dish soap versus using an actual surfactant that's designed for turf grass. Next, we have Blaze Mangola is up next. He says, "Hey Ron, I applied my late spring headway G app about 2 weeks ago, and now my yard has a decent amount of lawn rust. Should I reapply? No, I would just wait. I mean, remember when you apply a fungicide, if you're having a problem in your lawn and then you apply a fungicide to correct it, like the fungicide does not reverse the damage, or that the disease that you happen to be facing happens to that the disease you're facing causes. What it does, it stops it from getting worse, which is going to allow the lawn to heal over time. So if you apply a fungicide within 2 to 3 weeks, you should start seeing an improvement in the lawn, and then 21 days later, 2 weeks, I would say 14 to 21 days later, you could apply again. The thing I would say though, a lot of times when people have rust in their lawn, is that if you're overwatering the lawn, you can cause some of these types of problems. So if you're out there watering it every single day, watering in the morning, watering in the night, just putting too much water on the lawn, consider backing that down a little bit. But yes, with fungicides, you do your initial app, and then the second application 14 to 21 days later is a good idea. So yeah, you actually could do another application now if you wanted to. Yeah. And then next up, it says, "Would love it if you ship to Canada." Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice, but there's a lot of problems with that, man. I mean, the cost of shipping the products, or you're talking about like granular products, like shipping like 45 and 50 pound bags of fertilizer, like to Canada, is not inexpensive. Like you're gonna pay a lot for it. And then the products, the majority of them are not labeled for use in Canada. So we can't ship them there. You can't use them on your lawn, so. I don't have to tell you, man. Blame the Canadian government. It's not my fault. I mean, we'd love to ship the stuff to you. I mean, even if the cost were not, if in other words, if costs were the only problem, I think a lot of you guys would pay to have it shipped up there. Like you guys would just be like, yes, whatever, we'll just pay and just ship it. Or if if costs were the only problem, then I think a lot of online product retailers would figure out a way to do it. But the thing you can't really get out of is all the registrations and stuff, and that's something you really can't get past, and just honestly just probably not worth the headache, which is why you don't see, outside of like a handful of products, you don't see many manufacturers even bothering with doing it. So not because we don't want to, it's just you just can't. So next up is Angela Hicks. She says, "Hey Ron, what can I do to stop zoysia grass from taking over my Bermuda lawn?" Ooh, that's a tough one. The other way around is recognition and fusilade. That's a good question. How do you selectively remove zoysia out of Bermuda? That's a tough one, man. I don't have an answer for you on that, Angela. I don't have an answer for you on that. I'm trying to think if there's any herbicides that will selectively control zoysia in a Bermuda lawn, and nothing is coming to mind. Like fusilade zoysia tolerates fusilade better than Bermuda does. So you can't do that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if there is one, unfortunately. So I guess you could cut it out, dig it out. I mean, the thing with zoysia is that it does grow pretty slowly, so you could go that route. But I don't know of a herbicide that will selectively control zoysia in Bermuda. So you may have to just like physically get rid of it, or like spray it out, like use like glyphosate, use like some kind of non-selective herbicide to kill it. But you are going to damage the Bermuda in those areas too. So your options are cut it out, spray it out, or just live with it. That's another thing you could do too, right? I mean, that's another option, because I could be wrong on this, but I don't know of a selective herbicide that will remove zoysia out of Bermuda. The other way around, yes, but the what you're asking, not so much. So sorry, I'm not more help on that one. At Coleman Jr. says, at Parallax, join the Golf Course Lawn Academy for a great resource. Totally worth it. Thanks so much, Alan. That's a great point. And that's, it's an interesting point for you to say that, because that's something eventually is going to happen. Like, right now, I still take emails from folks that aren't Academy members, and try and help out and answer as much as I can. But over time, as things get more and more busy, as things get bigger, eventually it's going to being able to email me and get an answer is going to be pretty much limited to people that have a question about a product on the store, or people that are Golf Course Lawn Academy members, because it's just, I've only got so much time, and I've got to, like, the folks that are either buying from the store or are investing in the academy, are ones that can only divvy up my time. I got to put it in those places. So eventually that's going to be a thing. It's totally worth it. I think it's worth it. I mean, it's not, for what you pay, it's very much a bargain. There's a way for it to pay for itself with the discounts you get on Miramichi products. And then the best part is the group in the private Facebook group that we have, that you get access to as part of being an Academy member. Is a lot of people that are really serious about their lawns. I mean, Randall, Robert, I mean, there's a host of others that are in there that are really serious about growing the best lawn possible. And everyone is cool to help each other out. It's a drama-free zone, but it is part of the course. So it's not, you can't get into it unless you're part of the Golf Course Lawn Academy. So, and if you do join, you have to keep it drama-free, because that is one thing that I always tell everybody. I reserve the right to give you your money back at any point, and you'll be asked to leave if you're misbehaving. So it's not, it is definitely membership by privilege than by right. Money does not make you, does not guarantee that you stay there forever if you're gonna be a jerk. We haven't had that problem, but I gotta say it. All right, next up is Colin. He says, thanks, Ron, much appreciated. I will say the prep that set up for the back was most important to get the sharp edges, laying the strings and getting the edge straight off the bat when laying the sod. Cool. So I mean, I get what you're saying, but still, man, I gotta tell you, like, the edge that you laid with that string trimmer is really, that's clean. That's really good. That's really good. Like, if you told someone that you use a stick edger, they would not, no one would call, I wouldn't call you a liar. I absolutely thought that, especially this one that's closest to us, that was run with a stick edger, because that's a crisp and clean line, man. Looks good. I like it. Keep it up. Next up, we have Parallax says, thank you. That's great. You're very welcome. Yeah, make use of the calculator, man, and also the other the calendar that's on there. Again, a lot of people follow just what's in that resource calendar that's on the store, and they get a great result with their lawn. So you can absolutely do that if you want to as well, and it's absolutely free. Next up is Mark Luna. He says, hello, Ron, Stripe Action Gang. Love the rain we've been getting from Alberto. 3 inches in the last 48 hours. Trying to get the lawn headed up, healed up, you said. Trying to get the lawn healed up from aerating for the 4th. Spraying with your new hotness soon. Peace. Keep me posted, Mark. I'm glad to hear that you're getting some rain. We're not getting any. We don't have any rain in the forecast that I'm seeing for the next 10 days, which is kind of brutal. Us in Georgia, we're going to start sounding like the folks in Texas, like in San Antonio, how they normally sound around this time of year. We're going to start sounding like that because we don't have any rain coming our way. But I'm glad that someone is getting lots of rainfall. And as always, keep me posted as how the product, the new fertilizer, does once you get out there and then use it on the lawn. Again, I think you're really going to be happy with the results from it. Jose is up next. He says, hey, Ron, happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, Jose. Appreciate you coming and hang out in the live stream. You said, let's see here. He says, is stored water with a bit of Clorox or chlorine okay for grass? These couple of weeks with no rain in Georgia has my grass not too happy. I am looking to start with some rainwater in a large tote. Thanks in advance. It's a good question. I guess it would depend on how concentrated you're talking about here. I guess it depends on how concentrated you're referring to, Jose. Like I'll tell you, for example, like where I grew up, the island I grew up on, we don't have like how you have like city water, or whatever. Like everyone has cisterns. Like it's like, and if you don't know what that is, it's like a big like concrete tank that whenever you build a house in St. Eustatius, you build a cistern. So it's like a big concrete like tank that's in the ground, and you fill that with water. And what some folks will do is once or twice a year, you'll take like like one of those red Dixie cups, because pretty much just water just sits there year round. Rainwater goes in and fills it, and people also fill it with water as well too. But once or twice a year, people will take like half one of those cups when the cistern is all the way full with Clorox, with chlorine, and add that to their cistern to kind of kill off any bacteria or anything that's harmful in there. But that's highly, highly, highly diluted. I mean, you're talking about a tank that's oftentimes is like 20 by 20 feet, and then 10 feet deep. And so if you just calculate how much water's in that, and then you have, like this much of a cup of chlorine, it's not very much. So I say all that to say, I guess it depends on how concentrated it is. If it's water, in other words, if you were doing that, if that water that you're storing is water that you're planning to use for drinking water, then I imagine it would be fine. But if the concentration of chlorine is higher, then I'd be a bit concerned about doing it. So it really just comes down to how concentrated you're talking. So I don't have a straight answer for you, but I mean, if it's highly, highly diluted, it'd likely be just fine. If it's not highly diluted, then I wouldn't do that. So hope that helps. Next up is Kevin Barriga. He says, "Hey Ron, I put down the 12-0-24 today. Can I apply foreplay tomorrow?" Yes, you absolutely can. Actually, it's a great that's a great sequence to do things in, because you put down the granular fertilizer, it needs to be watered in, and foreplay also needs to be watered in after application. So if you did your granular fertilizer today, and then tomorrow you're going to be applying for foreplay, you kind of kill two birds with one stone. You get your moisture manager done, and you also water in your fertilizer. So I love it. Sounds like a plan. I would absolutely do that. And then next up, we have, actually, you know what, Kevin? I'm sure at some point someone else is going to have that question, so why not save it? You will get the honor or horror of being a short on YouTube, right? So if you wanted to be famous, but hey guys, look, my question got turned into a short. Luckily, it likely will be. All right, so next up, we have Michael. Michael Coons in the house. He says, "Happy Thursday, Ron. Does it sound right?" I know, man, but it's thankfully it's not a regular thing. It's not a common occurrence. It says, "How much experience do you have using liquid aerators? Do they really work at all? And are they comparable to actually aerating your lawn and physically renovating or removing material?" I've got plenty of experience with liquid aerators, because technically Release 901C, Release 0, Nutrikelp, really any biostimulant, any products with humic acid, those all can perform the functionality, or provide the functionality of liquid aerators, which is increasing microbial activity to help break down thatch and dead material in the lawn. Are they a replacement for core aeration? Not a chance, not even close. So if your goal is to relieve compaction, you've got to, I mean, core aeration is several orders of magnitude better than using liquid aeration products. I'm not saying that there's not any negative to them. I mean, there's not any positives to them, because I use them literally every couple of weeks. I spray them on my lawn, right? Like, again, the Release 901C, Nutrikelp, like the Carbon Kit, like those you can all consider to be liquid aeration products, but they don't replace hollow tine aeration. So no, I would not. It is not either or. I would say do both. Kind of like if you ask the question, should I do granular fertilizer or liquid fertilizer? I'd be like, why not both? Both is better. And if you say, should I use liquid aeration or core aeration? Why not both? Both is better. But liquid aeration, I mean, in other words, I'm kind of making like jokes about it, but I mean, if you have no plans to ever core aerate your lawn, using a liquid biostimulant that can encourage microbial activity to help break down thatch and help just like jumpstart that engine of the soil, it's a good thing. So it's better than not doing anything, but they are not comparable. So for like relieving compaction, if you just think about it, right? If you have compacted soil and you go out and you run an aerator over it, you're physically removing plugs of soil all throughout the lawn. And if you've ever walked on a lawn that's been core aerated, it feels like softer and mushy. Like it, I mean, you can feel the lawn kind of moving under your feet because you've literally opened up voids everywhere for that soil that was highly compacted to relax into. As far as getting air, water, nutrient into the soil, because you're physically removing a plug and there's like a void there, water can get in, air can get in. If you're putting down fertilizer or biostimulants, they can get into the soil faster. It's just it's better. It's a better way to do things. So what I would say is this: I would core aerate your lawn, and if you want to go out and spray a liquid aerator or a thatch buster type product on top of that, by all means, you're not going to hurt anything. The two of them working together is a good thing. Another thing you can look at is if liquid aerator products were a replacement. In other words, if they offered the same benefits as core aeration, professional turf would do it. So if you look at like golf courses, like greens, like they aerate the greens, to do a couple of things. One to relieve compaction. Whenever they top dress, it also allows them to introduce sand into the profile to thin out the organic material so the greens drain better, and just to also control the amount of organic material so they stay nice and firm. So there's a lot of good benefits to it. But if they could get by with just spraying a liquid product on the greens and getting the same result, they would absolutely do it. Because you think about it, whenever you aerate a lawn or aerate a green, the green is really not playable for a week or so, depending on how aggressive you are with it. And the cost of doing it is a lot more expensive than just simply spraying a liquid product on it. So core aeration is a superior approach to relieving compaction and to fast tracking water, air, and nutrient into the soil versus the liquid products. The liquids are not a replacement for mechanical aeration. So full stop. Hopefully that helps. I've answered this question before, but I maybe have not gone into the why behind it as much, but now you understand. Hopefully my explanation helps cover the why behind why I say they're not the same. And just if you just think about it, it just makes sense, right? Okay, next up is Tom Hovenkamp. He says, happy turf talk, y'all. Thanks, Ron, for the great advice. You're very welcome. Tom, thank you for stopping by to say hello. I know we're winding down. It's a Thursday night, so we're not going to go as late. And then Juan Lee Rodriguez says, hey, Ron, scarifying versus verticutting. Should you do both, or is one better than the other? I did both on my lawn. So of the two, verticutting is more aggressive than scarifying. You can do both. If your goal is to thin out the lawn, if you have like a lot of runners, a lot of stolons across the lawn to cut those off and to encourage new growth, verticutting is a better choice for that than scarification. Because scarification, what you're basically doing is for lack of a better term, you're using like spring-loaded fingers to comb debris out of the turf. So that's the big thing of scarification is to clean up debris in the lawn. That's the primary job that it accomplishes. Whereas verticutting, the goal is more to thin out the lawn and to encourage new growth. So they're two different processes. When I verticut, I do scarify or turf rake afterwards, mainly because turf raking does a great job cleaning up the debris that didn't go into the grass catcher whenever I verticut. So my sequence is verticut, turf rake, mow. Whenever I do it, that's the order that I always do things in. Another way of doing it, though, if you don't have access to a verticutter, is you can absolutely just turf rake and then mow. That will work well too. As a matter of fact, if you look at Brian's lawn here, this is a lawn that was scarified / turf raked and mowed. So you can get great results with both of them. But verticutting as a stand from a position of solving the issue of cutting problems or scalping issues, especially as the lawn tends to thicken up this time of year, verticutting does a much better job of that than scarification does. So it's not one or the other. They serve different purposes. So hope that helps. If you need anything else, let me know. I've got a video that actually, you know what? I'll link it to you. I've got a live stream that I did last year where I talk through this and actually do it live. I actually verticut the lawn, turf rake the lawn, and mow it live, and then I feed it afterwards. So if you really want to see the whole process, and you got a couple of hours to kill because I filmed the whole thing, then you can watch this. Oh, hopefully I can find it. And yep, there we go. Thank goodness for search, right? You can say what you want about Google, but they definitely do search right. All right, at least on YouTube anyway, right? All right, so there you go, Wanley. You can watch that video. That will show you the entire process. All right, next up is Blaze says, also, should I suspend the carbon kit and fertilizer? I forget the first question you asked. It's around disease. Yeah, if you want to hold off on fertilizing the lawn while you wait for the disease problem to clear up, that would be a good idea. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. Yep, that would be a good idea, Blaze. All right, No Name is up next. He says, happy Thursday, Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts. I'm going to miss this one, but everyone hit the like button. Thank you so much, No Name. I really do appreciate you. And let's see here. So what are the questions we have? And next up is James Smith. He says, not going to be around long. I have a 15-mile run at 4:15. Why on earth are you waking up at 4:15 in the morning to go run 15 miles? Is somebody going to be chasing you for 15 miles? Ooh, painful. He says, lawn family, just make sure to hit the likes in. We know Ron will sleep better, and we need to get him enough to make it through the weekend. Nice, 15 miles. That's the one exercise that I really don't like. I'd rather do like 500 push-ups in a day than run 15 miles. Like I really don't like running. Is the thing that I dislike more than I'm trying to think of any exercise that I dislike more than running. There's probably some, but none that really come to mind. I really don't like running. Like push-ups, doing weights, squats, just other exercises that people tend to really dislike. I would be fine with that, but running, like I said, I'd rather have to do. You said what 15 miles. If I had to do 500 push-ups over the course of a day, I'd happily versus running 15 miles. So you're a bigger man. You're a bigger man than me, James. Good luck. Have fun. Enjoy the run. Be safe out there. 4:15 in the morning is still dark out, so just be careful. All right. L and S says, half my grass is zoysia and the other half is common Bermuda. The color difference is very obvious. What can I do to blend the colors so the grasses look almost the same? You can't. You can't really. I mean, even if you apply, say, iron, right? It's going to deepen the color of both grasses. So both grasses will get darker in color, but the hue will still be there. The difference in hue will still be there between the zoysia and the Bermuda. So if it really bugs you, pick one and get rid of the other one. That's how you would get it. As far as like blending Bermuda and zoysia and making them look the same, that's not really going to happen, because for a couple of reasons. Like Bermuda and zoysia, like just visually look very different. Texture wise, they're different. Growth characteristics are different. Like Bermuda grows much more quickly than zoysia does. So for those reasons, you're just never going to really get them to be able to blend and look really good together, in my opinion. So I would just pick one and go with that, or just learn to live with it. The thing you got to realize too, LNS, is that if you're like a lawn care geek, you're really into your grass, you see problems in your lawn that other people do not see. You'd be surprised when people drive by and be like, oh, your lawn looks great, it looks incredible. And when I look at it, it looks nice, but really my eyes are only drawn to all the problem areas or things that could be better. And I can guarantee you see it. It bugs you more than anyone that's passing by. And granted, if you're just doing it for yourself, I get it. In which case, get rid of one of the grasses and just have like one stand of turf grass, one common stand of grass, which makes sense. But if you're doing it from a standpoint of thinking that people are going to see the lawn and be like, oh my goodness gracious, like who lives here? Why would they have common Bermuda and zoysia in their lawn? No one's paying attention. No one's seeing it. So there is that, if that helps some. But what you're trying to do, not really going to happen. Pick one or the other is what I would tell you if you really want to ensure that it matches. Of the two, it is easier to selectively get rid of Bermuda and zoysia than the other way around. So you can use Recognition and Fusilade to get rid of Bermuda and a zoysia lawn, but I don't know of a way to selectively remove zoysia out of Bermuda. There might be a herbicide that'll do it, but I don't know of one. All right. Next up, I can't see. Yeah, that's from me. He says, my lawn issue this week found out that 811 guys, some folks painted lines on my turf. Man, that irritates me to no end. I hate it when they do that. The people that come out there to come spray for where the lines are, like your power lines, or internet lines kind of thing. They could use a smaller or a less wide spray paint can, like a big old like graffiti on my lawn. Really dislike it. I know what you're talking about. He says, so they spray painted lines on your turf. He says, next door had a fiber cut, and the guys went further, crossing into my lawn. The fiber stone is in the other lawn. I got you. So they spray painted your lawn, even though the problem wasn't there. They're not. Here's the thing again, James. Like I was telling the other gentleman, most people are not into lawns like you are. So they don't really care. They just think, hey, I got out here and mark lines, and I'm going to mark lines. I don't really care. Nice thing is this grass. It'll grow back. It'll grow through it. Just mow it a lot, and it'll grow through it. You won't see it. They'll get rid of it. You won't see it if you do that. Next up, he says, Eli says, my neighbor uses baby shampoo on his hot spots with success. I want to try it, but I also want to do a separate granular fertilizer. Which should I do first, ending with watering them in? I don't think well, if you're going to put out fertilizer, do that first, because you need to water the fertilizer in anyway. And if you're going to be mixing water with baby shampoo and putting that on the lawn, then you kill two birds with one stone. So put out the granular fertilizer first, and then you can put out the baby shampoo and water blend. And again, you're watering the fertilizer in and fixing potential, dry spots in the lawn if that's what you're trying to do. So there you go. Next up is James Smith says, have you ever thought about a private Slack channel versus a Facebook group for the faceless? I thought about it, man. But it's just one more thing to have to moderate. I guess I could do Slack, but it's more difficult to manage identities and all this kind of stuff. And also from a standpoint of people posting pictures and videos, a big part of the Facebook group is that, like, people will post videos and pictures in there. And as far as having that all easily accessible, that's like, Facebook is a better platform for that than Slack, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, they've got like media players built into it to where you don't actually download it to be able to play it and this kind of thing. So it would have to be either or, and the people that are in there haven't really complained about wanting to go to Slack. And here's the thing, most people don't even know what Slack is. They don't ever use it. So there's that. It has to be one or the other. I'm not going to do both of them because, again, it'd be like one more thing I have to moderate. So I don't, so probably not going to happen at this point. You never know. Maybe in the future. I'm not going to say never, but at this point, probably not. Wayne says, is verticutting recommended? Sure. Yeah. If you have warm season turf grass and you are mowing at shorter heights and you're looking for a way to thin out the turf in a way that is less aggressive than doing like a mid-season scalp, then verticutting is an excellent option. Excellent option versus a mid-season scalp. So yeah, Wayne. So like most answers, the most correct one is it depends. Is it strictly necessary? No, but does the lawn look a lot better after you do it, especially if you're someone like, highly maintained turf, you're real mowing it and doing all the things? Yeah, it does make a pretty big difference, like visually, in how the lawn looks once it recovers. So for that reason, I would consider doing it. Let's see. He says, is verticutting safe to do if your grass is not 100? I mean, no grass is 100. I don't even consider my lawn 100%. I wouldn't go out and verticut a thin lawn. So if your lawn's got like a lot of problem areas and it's not, like, if you're not mowing the entire lawn, if your entire lawn is not grass, like you got bare spots, I wouldn't get out there and verticut bare spots. But if you have a stand of grass, even if it's not looking as nicely as you may want it to look, then yeah, it's not going to really hurt anything to do that. So I guess just exercise common sense. Like, look at your lawn, and if your lawn is thick due to feeding and also just due to regular mowing, which causes it to thicken up, coupled with this time of year, then yeah, verticutting is a less aggressive way of thinning out the lawn versus a mid-season scalp with a mower. So that's why I do it. And if you're someone that really likes stripes, it does help define, really set the stripes. Really does help define the stripes nicely. So that's another benefit of it. I wouldn't verticut your lawn just for stripes, but that is another benefit of verticutting. All right. Next up is Corey. He says, I over-applied Celsius 4 weeks ago on my growing sprigs. It yellowed and stunted the growth completely. Any advice? Is it just a waiting game? it is just a waiting game. Just wait it out. They should, if it doesn't kill them, they should bounce back in time. Just let it run its course, and they should bounce back. It's going to be a waiting game, Corey. Next up is Larry. What's going on, man? I haven't seen you in a while. I guess you've been busy, like working on motorcycles and doing cool stuff. You haven't had time to hang out with us. He said, "Hey Ron, it's been a while due to work, but I do come by to hit the like button at least. I appreciate that. I have a lot of browning in the lawn. I dethatched with the Sunjoe yesterday. I'll email pics next week for advice." Sure, yeah. So send some pictures of the lawn. I'll take a look at it, and we can get them on the live stream next week, and we can show everyone what you're dealing with, what you're working with. Assuming you want me to show the pictures to everybody. You may not want your lawn out there, but I mean, I know we've looked at pictures of your lawn when you're doing the renovation, so I assume it's okay. But just let me know which way you want to go. Higgy Pop says, "Hey Ron, traveling for work. Have a great show and weekend." I appreciate that, Higgy. Travel safe. Next up, we got Brian Hall. He says, "Hey Ron, it is raining here in Michigan, and I can't wait to see the results after it clears. Greener lawn for days ahead. Cheers." Nice. Yeah, that is true. You do get a nice green pop after rainfall, right? Julius Elias is in love with Essential G. I like to hear that. That's awesome, Julius. I'm sure the folks at Miramichi like that you like the product. And then Brett P is up. He says, "We've had no rain in Atlanta all of," I think you mean June. "All of June. Do you recommend Hydrotain?" Yes, I do. "I'm getting quite a few dry spots, even with almost daily morning watering." Yeah, I do recommend it, Brett. I would use Hydrotain or a moisture manager like Foreplay. So in your case where you've already got dry spots in the lawn, consider using Foreplay instead. So this has got Hydrotain in it, but it also has surfactant, humate, a bit of kelp. It has some other additional ingredients that are going to help a lawn recover faster from localized dry spots. You could use Hydrotain, but this is essentially Hydrotain plus, Hydrotain with more stuff in it. So I would consider this versus just using Hydrotain based on where you are. And yes, I absolutely would recommend it. So I'll send you a link here where you can pick that up, and that's what I would go with. Next up is James Smith. He says, "Follow up on the running. I guess you forgot I'm an ultra marathoner. Western States 100-miler trail race this weekend." You're gonna run 100. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. That's wow. That's wild, James. Now it makes sense. Now the whole Ron, you're drinking too much sugar, and then the diet lemonade and regular Chick-fil-A lemonade. It's you know what, James, is coming together now. It's making more sense now. But that's cool, man. More respect to you. That is a feat. That is a feat. That's pretty awesome. I imagine you're in amazing shape, because that's not easy. Not easy. So really cool. Next up, we have, it says, "Hi, I'm from Montreal. There it's 33°C. I guess that's temperature. I'm not sure what 33 degrees in Celsius is. Let me see. Celsius to Fahrenheit. I know the formula, but I can't do it off the top of my head. You said it's 33, is that right? So 33 degrees in Celsius, 91 degrees. That's not bad. A lot of people around here would take that, man. 91 degrees. While that's hot for Montreal, there's a lot of parts of the country here in the United States where we would gladly take 91-degree weather. So but thank you so much for tuning in from Montreal. I do appreciate it. Montreal is a cool city. I've been there once for work. It was really cool. Good food there. Let's see. Ruben Flores says, Is it me, or is there a correlation between golf trending right now as a sport and lawn care? Maybe. I mean, the thing is, it's a nice time of year, right? Like it's summertime, so people getting out in the course to play golf. It's nicer this time of year than, say, in the wintertime. And folks tend to also get out there in their lawns this time of year. We're leading up to the 4th of July, which is when people have parties and barbecue and fireworks, and they want their lawns looking really nice. So I don't know that there's a direct correlation between golf as a sport and lawn care. In other words, lawn care is not making golf more of a sport. Like the U.S. Open just finished, just completed. So that got a lot of airtime for golf. So that's probably why people are like, there's people still following golf more so than recently, than maybe prior to that. So whenever any of the majors are airing, people get more into golf. People go out and play golf, and maybe they say, "Hey, I can work on my lawn," and that kind of thing. So maybe. But I would think it's definitely golf would be contributing more to lawn care than the other way around. People don't go work on their lawns and think, hey, I want to go play golf. I think it's the opposite. But they're probably just no correlation. We're probably, between you and me, Ruben, we're probably just like stretching. We're probably trying to find a correlation where there really is none. All right, next up we've got, we already answered that question, Brett. And then next up is Mars Beach. Says, I'm in Middle Tennessee and I have a tall fescue lawn with 11,700 square feet, front and back and side yards. I have more weeds, mostly crabgrass and clover than grass. What can I do now to get ready for the overseed in September? Thanks. So with fescue, the fescue does tolerate quinclorac fairly well as a herbicide. So if you, depending on how bad the crabgrass is, if you want to, take a shot at getting rid of it, you can use this Mars Beads. If you go to shop and then go to weed killer, and on the weed killer page, you will find this product, which is quinclorac, which is probably the best herbicide, or among the best herbicides you can use for controlling crabgrass and turfgrass. So the big thing is you want to be careful, be cognizant of temperature. You don't want to spray when it's too hot outside. But if you want to clean up some crabgrass in your fescue, you can use quinclorac. For your other weeds, I don't think quinclorac is labeled for. I don't believe it's labeled for clover. But for clover, you could use any three-way, so you could use quinclorac for the crabgrass, and then for the clover, you could use Triad. So I think I've got it on here. I believe I do. Yep, this. So this fescue tolerates this also well, and it's labeled for use to control clover. So you could use quinclorac, and you could use a three-way like this. Again, for best results and to minimize injury, refrain from spraying whenever temperatures are above 85 degrees. Like pick a cooler day if you can to spray. And then that will clean up the clover and crabgrass in your lawn. And I'll send you a link here where you can find both of them. You can get them both here and at Mars Beads and herbicides. There you go. Herbicide collection. All right, so there you go. Hopefully that helps. And then next up we're winding down here. We got Patrick's or Pollock's in Paradise. It says, battling fungus, apply Pillar SC. Is there anything I should not do while the turf is recovering, like growth regulator? PGR, not so much. I mean, I really wouldn't be too concerned about PGR, but you don't really, as far as fertilization goes, I would back off on that. I wouldn't go out there and put out a fertilization application right now while you're letting the lawn recover. Once you get past the like the 21-day mark, like the lawn's on its way to recovery, and you're putting out your second fungicide at, then yeah, if you want to start feeding the lawn again, you can. But until you get to that point, I would refrain on adding a bunch of nitrogen to the lawn. Robert says, hey Ron, any word of the turf park party? Here's the thing, man. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I was talking to Lee about it. With the new mowers with the Revolution, they have been just crazy busy. So I don't think, at least in the spring, I know it's not happening, or spring's already gone, so it's definitely not happening then. As far as the summer, I don't know about happening in the summer. You can ask him and see if in the fall he wants to do it. I think the last time we did it, it was in the fall. So there's still time this year, but from the last I heard is that he wasn't going to do it because of time. So if you want to reach out to him, Robert, and say, hey man, can we just do it in the fall? He might say yes, because by the fall, things should be slowing down a little bit. But again, you have to ask him. He controls that. I have no bearing on that other than saying that I will tell folks about it whenever the date happens to be set. So sorry, I don't have a better answer for you. Let's see here. First Apple says, is the Sunjo turf rake good? I've seen bad reviews on it, and I don't want to get a $6,000 Allet. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. The majority of people that turf rake and verticut their lawns use a Sunjo. Most of them do not have an Allet. They don't use an Allet. So yes, you can get a great result. It really is, Fresh Apple's a case of the Indian rather than the arrow. So just make sure the machine is set up properly and you can get a great result using it. So yeah, just people get good results using the Sunjo. Let's see here. Eli says, what are your thoughts on a budget guide to heat treat spots in zoysia to treat dry spots in zoysia in Greensville? Baby shampoo, okay. You could give it a shot. I would use an actual moisture manager. So if you're asking me what I would use, I would use Foreplay. I would use this. This is what I would use. This is what I would use to treat dry spots. I mean, a quart is like $52.99 shipped to your door. And that's what I would use. You can try baby shampoo and water. That's an option too. But I would just use something that's actually designed and formulated to treat localized dry spots. To me, it's worth it. It's worth using something that has a high degree of likelihood that you will have success with it versus using like a home concoction. Not saying it won't work, but I mean, Foreplay is probably going to work better. Is what I'm getting to. Let's see. Mars Blade says, should I use any fertilizer along with the herbicides? Any other treatments to prepare for overseeding? Yeah. So fertilization and weed control they're not linked. They're decoupled. You can do, like, in other words, you could fertilize and spray for weeds on the same day if you want to. I would not, if it's time for you to fertilize your lawn, then you can go ahead and do so. If it's not time for you to fertilize your lawn, then don't do it. But I wouldn't go out and apply fertilizer because you're spraying herbicides. As far as using fertilizer as part of your seeding project, using a good starter fertilizer, so one that has nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, is like a good balanced fertilizer, is a good thing to do. That's going to help the new grass root in better if you're looking for an option. If you go to the golf course lawn store and look at shop and then lawn fertilizer, our 14-7-14 is an excellent choice. It's got all the macros, and it also has humic acid and kelp in it, along with a bit of micronutrients. So it's a great all-around complete feeding program. Great for seeding projects. So in the fall, if you're looking for a good balanced fertilizer, this is what I would go with. But you don't have to apply fertilizer as part of you controlling weeds in your lawn. The two they're not connected. They're not linked. So Mars, I will link this here in the chat for you, so you'll have this as well too. You can find it on the Golf Course Lawn Store, but to make it easy, there you go. All right, next up is Chronicles, I think. Says, hey Ron, love your show. I'm in Georgia. I rotary mow. I'm mowing common Bermuda often at 1.5 inches, and I'm seeing circles like the rotary blade that appears. I don't have irrigation. Cause, recommendations? So great question. So what I call them, like the frisbees or the flying saucers in your lawn, are due to the cutting height that you're mowing at. So if your lawn is not smooth and the mower ever dips, or like one of the wheels goes lower, that is going to cause the entire blade, the entire disc, to tilt slightly, and that's going to cut shorter, and it's going to cause like those marks, those circle marks that you see in your lawn. So your options for not having that are really two things. You can either raise the height of cut, which is the easier of the two, or the second is to level your lawn using a blend of sand and soil. That is going to smooth out those uneven areas, and it's going to allow you to continue to mow your lawn at 1.5 inches, and should get rid of the cutting problem that you're experiencing. So that's what I would say. You only a couple of ways to really go about it. 1.5 inches with a rotary mower, I mean, that's getting it, man. That's getting down there. And most people that are mowing Bermuda with rotaries are more in that 2-inch range. So you'd be surprised if you went up to 2 inches, you would likely, a lot of those problems you're having with the discs, with the scalping problems, would go away. But I admit, I know what you're saying, but it looks so nice at 1.5 inches. I agree. But again, there's no free lunch. Your choices are either mow taller or smooth out the bumpy spots so you can mow at that height and not scalp. Or another option, you could go to a reel mower, because a reel mower will allow you to mow even shorter than 1.5 inches, and you're still unlikely to scalp if you're mowing at, say, like 1 inch, right? So, or inch or 3/4, because reel mowers are less sensitive to uneven turf than a rotary mower is. So that's another consideration as well. That's the most expensive of the three solutions, right? So mowing taller, cheapest. Leveling your lawn, actually, I don't know, I say that. Depending on how big your lawn is, a reel mower may or may not be a cheaper option. If you got a really big lawn, leveling can be kind of expensive. So you got 3 options: mow taller, level your lawn, or get a reel mower. So it just depends on which way you want to go. Any of those 3 will alleviate that problem. So hope that helps. Let's see. James Smith says, last question for me. When was your last irrigation calibration? Years, man. I haven't done one in forever because I found what time, like my water pressure has been the same, constant. Like we have pretty high water pressure, like I think it's like 70 PSI, 75 PSI. It's pretty high for water pressure. And I haven't I haven't recalibrated or anything since doing that. I use the same irrigation heads. Like I've replaced irrigation heads since the last time I calibrated, but I use the same irrigation heads and the same like insert. So the flow rate is the same. So I don't really see a need to recalibrate it. So yeah, but as far as you're saying, have we had a group discussion on the topic already? As far as how you can calibrate your irrigation system. So when the idea behind, I think what James is getting to is you want to put out about an inch of water or so per week. Like most grasses need that inch to inch and a half. Summertime when it's hotter, you can go up to about an inch and a half. And the way you know what an inch and a half of water, what an inch of water is a couple ways. You can get tuna cans and place a couple of them throughout your lawn when the irrigation is running, and you can see how long you need to run a cycle for that tuna can to get an inch of water. That's an easy way of doing it. Any tuna can, a shallow dish, any of those things will work well for determining how long you need to run your irrigation system to put out the appropriate amount of water. And it's worth doing at least one time because depending on where you live in the country, water pressure is different. The irrigation nozzle you're using is different. Flow rates are different. So me saying, hey, I water my back lawns with at each zone for like 20 minutes is not going to translate to you because depending on the kind of irrigation system you have and the water pressure in your area, that might be too much or it might not be enough. So the best way is what James is talking about, which is calibration, which you can do that again with like a tuna can or a shallow dish to figure out how long you should be running each zone to ensure you're putting out the right amount of water. The only modification I would say to that, the shallow dish approach is, let's say, for example, you figure that it takes 20 minutes for your irrigation system to put out, say, an inch of water, right? Or 3/4 of an inch of water, whatever it is you want to put out in each time. If you're on a slope, what you'll find is most slopes, like my slope, will not hold an inch of water from irrigation all in one setting. So you may find that if you need to run the irrigations for a total of 20 minutes, you may find that you may have to run like a 10-minute cycle and then like 45 minutes later, run another 10-minute cycle. So that way more of the water is absorbed and soaked into the soil versus having a bunch of it wasted in runoff. So you do have to tweak it based on what your lawn is like, but all things being equal, you're talking about a flat lawn with not a lot of runoff. You can use a tuna fish can or a shallow dish to figure out how long you should be running your irrigation cycles. So good question, James. Appreciate it. Next up is Michael Kuhn. He says, how often do you apply Primo Max? Another product similar to this on Amazon says it turns their lawn a hazy color for a week, but then it dissipates. Thank you. Yeah, so I apply Primo Max every 2 weeks, and I mix it along with a new EZ. So I'll show you really quickly. I do these two. I do a new and I do Primo, and I spray them every 2 weeks. And you're probably saying 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, 2 growth regulators. How, what, this witchcraft that you speak of, how are you accomplishing this, Ron? Well, the blog post that's already linked in the chat covers it. But if you're someone that's like a visual person, or you just want to see me gab on about how I go about doing it, I have a video that talks about the process that I use for growth regulator and the rates that I use and all that fun jazz. And the way that I do it, Michael, avoids that problem you're talking about, which is tip burn, this coloration you get whenever you spray growth regulator at too high a rates on your lawn. And the thing is, that's really a problem that it tends to be an issue the first time you spray. Subsequent applications, unless you're over applying it, you really shouldn't have any discoloration in your lawn when you're spraying Primo or a new. So just something to keep in mind. That whole yellowing thing is really a one-time thing. So it's really your call. But the tip burn aside, the other advantages of spraying every 2 weeks is that this time of year when it's hotter and the grass is growing more aggressively, spraying once a month is borderline. It's not quite enough, right? So if you spray every 2 weeks, that's a good way of ensuring that the lawn really doesn't come out of regulation, and it also avoids any over application of the growth regulator. So check out that video that I linked in the chat that covers the rates that I use. And even though I've already posted it like 3 times already, I'll post it one more again to show you the blog post that I have on plant growth regulator. Actually, it's on the main page. I can just find it here. I can just find it right here and just link it to you. So this guy right here, Michael, I can actually show you where you can find it if you want, but I'll also send you a link in the chat. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store and then go to resources and our oh so carefully curated blog section, and you scroll down, you will find the 4th blog post, which talks all about plant growth regulation. So I'll link this in the chat for you, and that will get you all squared away as far as how I like to use Primo and Anew for great results. So there you go. All right, let's see here. Next up, you said, man, Image really wrecked my lawn this year. Before I found you, I saw tons of people recommend the Image Hosen. I had a huge POA problem, so I got it. I did 3 applications within a month. 30% is dead. Yeah, so 3 applications of Image in a month is too much. You likely overdid it. So like most things, herbicides are a great tool for controlling weeds in your lawn, but you have to stick to the rates. I mean, you have to stick to the label rates or you can have a bad outcome. So the thing is, the lawn will eventually come back and will eventually bounce back from it. But, it's just going to be a time thing. That's the best thing I can tell you, fresh apples. Just going to be a time thing. Kenny Kadow says, seems like there are many reasons to use foreplay over hydrotane, even if you are calling it hydrotane, even you are calling it hydrotane 2.0. What is your reason to stick with hydrotane rather than using foreplay? Honestly, the fact that I don't have it comes in a granular. Like if foreplay were available in liquid, in a granular, I would use that, but it's not. You can only get it in liquid form, because to use foreplay properly or to use hydrotane properly in liquid form, the lawn needs to be wet. That's not really the problem. I could just do it in the morning when there's already dew on the lawn, but then literally right after you spray them, you need to water them in. So given that I have like almost 12,000 square feet, I would have to like spray it in sections and then water it in sections. And it's just kind of a hassle versus just using hydrotane in granular form. I can just put it on the lawn and water it in and when it's convenient the following day. And it's there's no big issue with doing that. And now you can get the hydrotane that I've been using. I've been just sourcing it locally. You guys can now get on the Golf Course Lawn Stores. If you go to shop and then soil moisture management, you can get hydrotane now in a 40-pound bag. So you got it in a 3-pound bag, you got it in a 15-pound bag, or you got it in the 40-pound bag. So you've got all 3 options for hydrotane. And again, the big thing you get, Kenny, is just the convenience. But foreplay, in my opinion, is a superior product to just standard hydrotane. It is a better product than just standard hydrotane. It's just, for me, it's just I don't still want to have to go through trouble to the gymnastics of using the liquid product. So I don't do it. That's the only reason why. All right, you're very welcome, Eli. And then the white spots in your lawn. Yeah, so some of the damage you're probably seeing that you showed, some of this stuff is probably some of the dead grass from the over application of Image earlier this year. But again, just a time thing, man. Give it time; it will bounce back over time, is what I would tell you. All right, and then James Smith says, soil profile changes in some areas for neighbor's lawn. He's now asking and thought might be good for the lawn fam. I'm not sure what you mean, James, but okay. And then Fresh Apple says, do you think that soil management granulars will help with my thinner spots? Here's the thing, Fresh Apples, looking at the picture, I don't think these are dry areas. I think that grass is dead. Like it's like dead or seriously injured Bermuda grass. So what I would do is I would get a grass rake or a leaf rake and then rake out the dead stuff that's in there. I would get rid of it. I would rake it out. That's even cheaper than buying a moisture manager. There's nothing wrong with using a moisture manager, but if your goal is to get rid of that stuff that you showed me in the lawn, I would get rid of it. I would physically remove it. You can turf rake it out or just a regular rake and get rid of it. And that's gonna help encourage new growth for the grass that is still alive in your lawn. It's gonna give it areas to spread into, uninhibited from all the dead material that's in the lawn currently. Does that make sense? So if you want to use a moisture manager, sure, but it's not going to fix that. It's not going to fix that. So what I told you earlier is what I would do to go about controlling or correcting that problem. All right. Well, guys, gals, I think that is all the questions we have this evening. It's a little bit shorter show for tonight, but I mean, I'm glad you guys still chose to come hang out with me on the live stream. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. Otherwise, I'd just be here talking to myself, which I am prone to do. Well, again, thanks for coming to hang out on the live stream. As far as getting your lawn in its best shape for 4th of July weekend, which is only, a little over 2 weeks away. You still got plenty of time. So, you can absolutely get your liquid fertilization program on. It's going to help you get that deeper color. There's still plenty of time to get your lawn looking its absolute best. At a minimum, you can do this and it's absolutely free. It costs you nothing. You have to buy anything on the store to be able to do this. Just increase your mowing by just one extra mow this week leading up to that. So if you mow twice a week, mow 3 times per week leading up to the 4th of July. Just doing that alone is going to give you a better look to your lawn. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I really do appreciate all of you guys. I will see you guys next week at the same time, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Have an amazing weekend and get out there and do something fun in the lawn. Take care.